And the entire village would know that so-and-so's wife is a wolf.
Walikuwa wanapata adhabu. Ile adhabu inaitwa malu.
Every Friday at 9 p.m., KBC features different communities in Kenya for an opportunity to understand their specific belief or practice.
The Africa FIBA 2023 World Cup qualifiers enter the third phase from July 1st to 3rd. Kenya will contest for the coveted World Cup slots when it takes on hosts Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo and Senegal.
Guess who's on it? Woo! Which gives Kenya another chance to run an even better draw a beat!
Watch the matches live from Alexandria, Egypt on KBC Channel 1 starting on July 1st to 3rd. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
With less than 2 months remaining to August 9th, battle lines have been drawn in Kakamega County, with candidates receiving clearance from the IEBC to vie for the seat. This Thursday, 30th June, tune in to KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m. for a live gubernatorial debate and get to know each candidate's development agenda for Kakamega County.
Good morning, a beautiful Thursday it is. How are you doing this fine Thursday morning? Yes, cold, as we mentioned, make sure that you're keeping warm. Nonetheless, we are here to bring you up to speed with what is happening in Kenya and even beyond. Remember that today it is the D-Day for the Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance as well as the Roots Party. This is simply because they are expected to be unveiling their manifestos today. The Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance at the Kasarani Gymnasium, the Roots Party at the KICC. So clearly this, today, you know, Kenyans will be watching to see what these two particular presidential candidates will be telling Kenyans. But so far, Azimio is the only one which has unveiled its manifesto, and as we await for the Agano Party to also equally do the same. And again, being a Thursday, you know that it is matters, entertainment, all the way. That is what is simply going to be forming our conversations. And today we'll be talking about politics and entertainment, just trying to understand the place of art, particularly film, and what role it plays when it comes to politics, and this is specific in this electioneering period. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okello. Ray.
Good morning. Being the 30th of June 2022, my question is to you. Have you filed your tax returns yet? If you haven't, well, today is D-Day. Ensure by close of business that you do so, lest you incur penalties. As you heard, I'm Regina Manyara. Glad to have you on board. You can get me on my social media platforms at under Ray Manyara, as well as we welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter on KBC Channel 1. Don't forget to include where you're watching this particular broadcast from. That aside, Kenyans got to learn that the true sports partner, that is KBC Channel 1 right here, is going to be televising the World Cup 2022. And that is after it unveiled its sports packages that are meant to be broadcast to you live. Just in case you did not have a plan for the December holidays, being that that's the time where we're going to be having the World Cup, well, we'll be there with you. And also in the course of the day, we're going to be keenly waiting to see what is going to be contained in Kenya Kwanzaa's manifesto that is set to be unveiled today, the 5-pillar plan that the Kenya Kwanzaa team believe is going to propel them to the top house come August 9th or after the August 9 polls, with just 39 days to go. That's just a sneak peek of what we are following up for you, and stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours will be coming to you shortly. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you. Good morning, Doreen. And of course, a very good morning to everyone watching us right now on KBC Channel 1 TV or on YouTube. That's KBC Channel 1 TV. That's YouTube Live. Of course, it's Entertainment Thursday. We've got a lot of good interviews lined up for you. 006 is in the building. And of course, if you've ever been interested in finding out more about content creation, we have some good content creators that probably you've seen from, on one social media platform or the other. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And of course, we'll be reading the dailies right after this. Ray?
Indeed, a quick breather, then we'll be speaking news. Remember, as we said it, on top of bringing you up to speed with those stories that are making headlines in the last 24 hours, we're also going to be speaking entertainment. Thursday is indeed the new Friday right here on Good Morning Kenya. We'll be right back. Good morning. If you're tuning in, this is in the headlines on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Now we start off with matters of election, given that we have 39 days to the polls. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has maintained that the manual voters register will be used as a last resort in the upcoming general election. And this was said during a consultative meeting with the 4 presidential candidates to iron out election concerns. IBC Chief Executive Officer Hussein Marjan affirmed that adequate measures have been put in place to guarantee the efficiency of the electronic voter identification and that the biometric system remains primary method. Kamcha Menza has the details.
Wednesday morning, the 4 presidential candidates, Azimio's Raila Odinga, UDA's Deputy President William Ruto, Roots Party's Professor George Wajakoya, and Agano's Waihiga Mwaure, headed to the electoral body's invite to resolve electoral concerns raised by the parties. The mode of voter identification and results transmission path took center stage. According to IEBC, the biometric identification through KIMS kit remains the primary system if the process is to read off illegitimate votes.
When you identify voters through technology, the system automatically archives. It archives the details of those who have voted, meaning that if that person is supposed to present himself again, then that person cannot be able to vote. The system automatically will sound an alarm.
IEBC also backed this position on a Court of Appeal judgment that recognized alphanumeric search as a complementary mechanism. Azimio's legal team vehemently opposed the removal of the printed register.
Nobody is saying that you use printed registers. We are saying that system should be in place. The law requires you to have that system in place. So that if anything should fail, it should be there.
Those KIM kits in 2017 were still new. We have been keeping them in storage for the last 5 years. We have already been told that 4,000 of them are defective. We are not saying that technology should not be applied. But what should be noted also is that our elections are not 100% technology-based.
UDA and Agano party's concern was on whether information on KIM's kit will match that in the physical register.
We all agree that we are the digital highway is the place we are going. We support your commitment to the electronic register. We are trying to move our parties to to also have nominations.
What register is loaded in the KIMS kit? Because even if you printed that register and what is in the KIMS kit is what is in the physical register, nobody then needs to worry.
Myself as a presidential candidate have no problem with electronic voter identification.
According to IEBC, the KIMS kit will work offline for voter identification, and should a kit fail, an SD card can be used to transfer its data to a backup kit to ensure voting continues. Polling stations that lack 3G will receive satellite devices for adequate coverage. On the transmission of results, the parties proposed their agents to be allowed to take photos of the results and share on their WhatsApp platforms to ensure that they correspond with results at the National Tallying Center. IEBC undertook to schedule another meeting for its technical team to address technical concerns. The Commission, however, maintains that technology is going to work to give a free, fair and credible election.
At the same time, the IEBC Commission affirmed its commitment to conduct a free, fair and credible election come August 9th. Now back to the political scene and focusing on the campaigns is that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party has maintained that it is not to blame for the rising cost of living that has been rendered or rather unbearable to many Kenyans. The coalition's presidential running mate Martha Karua, who led campaigns in Homa Bay County, however, said they will address the high cost of living if they are elected into office. Wycliffe Okech has the details.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential running mate Martha Karua has warned Kenyans against buying the propaganda that the coalition's presidential candidate Raila Odinga was equally to blame following his handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Azimio is not in government. This is a Jubilee government that is in power. But Jubilee is one of the 26 parties in Azimio. Kwa hivyo tusifikirie Azimio ndio serikali. Azimio iko na ahadi zake zile itatimiza baba akikalia, baba akiingia State House. Na moja ni Baba Care, hiyo ingine ni kuona every county has a new industry.
Karua, who led the coalition campaigns in Homa Bay County on Wednesday, told the locals that the coalition will look into lowering the cost of living inside 100 days upon assuming office if it forms the next government.
I want to assure you, just as you know me, that masaa ya kazi, huyu ni mama ambayo hacheki na hachezi. Tutasaidia baba vilivyo, we are right behind him, and we are going to assist him to implement the very good policies that he has brought for our nation.
Karua also chose to walk the memory lane by reminding the locals about the working relationship between the Nyanza and the Mount Kenya regions, claiming the stars had now aligned for Odinga's presidency.
Tusiseme tumefika, we are not there yet. We must get every vote out. Ni jukumu letu, utafute mwenzako, utafute marafiki, utafute jirani, kura zote tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 zitokeleze na sipigiwe Raila Amolo Odinga.
Other leaders from the region asked the locals to vote for the Odinga Karua ticket come August 9, claiming the duo represents leadership of integrity, accountability and zero tolerance to corruption.
You can see what has happened in the mountain. The mountain has changed round and round and round because of this lady here.
You are charismatic, Honorable Martha, and you have zero tolerance to corruption, and you are capable. That is the kind of deputy president we have.
Wednesday's Martha Karua visit to Homa Bay County sets the mood for the Azimio One Kenya Coalition enhanced campaigns in Odinga's Nyanza backyard, which is set to kick.
Now, While that was happening in Homa Bay County, the Kenya Kwanzaa Brigade, led by Deputy President William Ruto, was in Tharaka Nithi, where he asked Kenyans to hold his government accountable for pledges made during the ongoing economic forums that are being conducted by the Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance.
Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance, led by Deputy President William Ruto, held economic forum with Tharaka Nithi County residents to understand priorities they would like the alliance to deal with should it clinch power in August polls.
Ni vipi kilimo ya mwananchi wa Tharaka Nithi munataka ishughulikiwe? Usaidizi wa aina gani ndio itabadilisha kilimo ya sehemu hii?
Ya muhimu sana ni utujengee soko iwe kubwa. Wanawake wote wawe huko kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni.
Tumesema tutawaletea pesa ya serikali pale kwa soko yenye mnakopa kwa riba ya chini, alafu mnaendesha biashara yenu.
The residents requesting for improved infrastructure and better markets for their farm products. Deputy President William Ruto promising to incorporate their views in his manifesto. Leaders accompanying the Deputy President lauded his campaign style, saying it prioritized interests of the citizens.
Mshaona hiyo katika historia ya Kenya tena? Wale ambao mmekuwa huko tangu miaka ile ya 63, mshaona mtu anataka kiti ya rais anakuja kujua wale ambao wanataka kwenda kuhudumia, kutumikia, shida yao ni gani?
As Ruto engaged Tharaka Nithi voters, his running mate Rigathi Gachagua was wooing the Ma community in Narok West.
Harambee! Naona muko chonjo. Harambee!
Meanwhile, a section of political leaders allied to Kenya Kwanzaa want the Kenya Ports Authority to lay bare its operations.
Why would the government, with only less than 5 weeks to leave office, hurriedly and secretly auction the operations, development, redevelopment, and management of all our ports to a foreign entity? An accountable government should confide in Kenyans why national strategic and security assets are being handed over to a foreign entity.
Now, away from the campaign trail, let's talk about bilateral trade ties, where President Uhuru Kenyatta has rallied Portuguese investors, entrepreneurs and captains of industry to make Nairobi the base of their business interests and investments in Africa, owing to Kenya's immense commercial potential in all the sectors of the country's expanding economy.
Speaking when he joined his Portuguese host Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa at the official opening of the Kenya-Portugal Business Forum in Lisbon, President Uhuru Kenyatta urged Portuguese investors to make Kenya the center for its African operations, saying that Kenya will support them. The business meeting was organized by the Kenya Investment Authority, Ken Invest, and its Portuguese equivalent, ICEP Portugal Global, to explore business partnership and investment opportunities by Kenyan and Portuguese captains of industry, entrepreneurs, and business leaders.
As we bring our business leaders together, you come together in an environment where your two governments have already shown a very strong desire to create an enabling environment for you, our private sector, who are the key in terms of engagement of our people-to-people relations.
The president regretted that despite the two countries having a long history of bilateral ties, the volume of trade flow between Nairobi and Lisbon remained low. President Uhuru Kenyatta pledged continued government support to Portuguese investors seeking investment opportunities in Kenya, saying his administration had established a conducive business environment. On the available investment opportunities in Kenya, President Kenyatta encouraged Portuguese investors to consider tapping into the country's thriving ICT, health and infrastructure sectors.
We have very strong ICT credentials. We have a very strong, young, technically savvy population and generation. So our startups are there. What we need to do is to ensure that these startups now become unicorns and are able to compete in the global environment.
President Uhuru Kenyatta underscored the importance of the strong Kenya-Portugal partnership, saying the relationship is anchored on long-standing political, cultural and economic ties. On his part, President de Sousa assured Kenya of a forever partnership with the government and the people of the Portuguese Republic.
To visit Portugal, the first Kenyan president ever to visit Portugal, but mostly to leave a message, a future. And you can leave a message, a future, because you have such a past, such an experience.
The reason why Nairobi is an ideal place for investment, just look at the human resource that gets here each and every morning, with statistics indicating that around 85% of the workstations within the CBD are at around 85% of the workforce within the Nairobi region. Now, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation editorial department yesterday featured 3 retirees for their exemplary performance in the department where they served as editors. The 3, Charles Otunga, Jack Oyo Sylvester and Henry Okello, who each served the corporation for over 20 years, said they leave the profession with their heads high as they performed their duties with high integrity. Former acting editor-in-chief and news presenter Gulam Mwaviro was recognized in absentia.
Speaking in the KBC's newsroom during the short ceremony that was held in their honor by the editorial department, Acting Editor-in-Chief Millicent Awor commended the 3 for their exemplary work and the great service they offered the corporation and the nation at large.
And I must say that we are missing you. Actually, most of us were asking, kwani alikuwa amefikisha umri? You know? Because we still felt that we needed more of you.
The newsroom fraternity, while saying their services will be missed, wished them well in their endeavors during retirement.
Yale yote mema mliatenda, ndio umefanya hata sisi tukafikiria tuje tujumuika nanyi.
Personally, I would love to live with it, because I'll never forget this, that the wonderful time we had together.
Nawapongeza na natakia kila laheri.
And we hope that when we meet out there, you will still feel part of us.
The 3, Charles Otunga, Jack Oyo Sylvester and Henry Okello, said they were honored with the opportunity to serve the nation for over 20 years each, saying they carry great memories that they will cherish.
Na hivi sasa jina Jack Oyo Sylvester watu wanakuambia kwamba it was a household name. Mahali popote nilipokuwa nikienda, nilikuwa nikiheshimiwa na nikipatiwa ile hadhi yangu.
Nimeheshimika sana kuwa hapa nikiona marafiki zangu wa zamani na ambao pia walikuwa msukumo kwangu, walinipa mshawasha kuendelea na kazi yangu.
They called on young journalists to exercise diligence and discipline while delivering stories to Kenyans.
Lakini jambo muhimu zaidi ambalo ningependa kusisitiza, wewe ukiwa mtangazaji, wewe ukiwa reporter, tafadhali sana lugha. Lugha ndio iwe silaha yako ya kwanza.
Always remember that there is a very important room in your life, and that room is called the room for improvement.
Kuna mambo mengi ambayo unaweza kufanya ambayo inaweza kuboresha kazi yako. Kwa hivyo ni kujitolea na kujituma ndipo uboreshe kazi yako.
During the ceremony, the trio toasted with the newsroom fraternity to celebrate the milestone in broadcast. Former editor-in-chief and news anchor Gulam Mwaviro was recognized in absentia.
Some are households name there like Retired Ngulam Waviro, who's also an anchor right here. We grew up with those names and were privileged to work alongside them. May they retire to prosperity. Now, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, Simon Chelagui, has read a rights act on unscrupulous job recruitment agencies that unlawfully take migrant workers abroad, subjecting them to abuse and human rights violation. Chelagui said the government is committed to ensure safety, respect and protection of human rights of all its citizens.
Speaking in Mombasa during the launch of an oversight and community feedback mechanism between the Kenyan government and International Organization for Migration IOM to address issues of unethical recruitment, the CS stated that the government was committed in the protection of migrant workers abroad.
An appropriate action will be meted on anyone who operates outside this arrangement. Let this serve as a warning to any agency out there that is planning to flout the laid down procedures. Waswahili wasema chuma chako ki motoni. There will be no mercy and no sympathy to any agency who will try to operate underworld.
Chelugui added that only 40% of the private agencies involved in labor migration are registered. The Labour CS saying the launched website and the toll-free line 0800 222 223 will ease access to information, procedures, processes and status of the recruiting agencies and migration of labour from Kenya to destination countries.
Ministry will be happy to see more professionals join the recruitment agents industry as we shift our focus from domestic workers to export of skilled labour. Indeed, we have already received requests from the government of Ethiopia to propose to them a number of recruitment agencies based here in Kenya, whom Ethiopian recruitment agencies can partner with.
As IOM, we committed to support the government of Kenya on migration management and also to promote the rights and well-being of migrants as well.
Statistics from Labour Ministry say approximately 4 million Kenyans are working abroad.
Well, that will be a welcome relief there for those who go seeking for greener pastures only to have their human rights violated. We take a quick breather. We'll be back with more.
Don't move. You've lost a great deal of blood. Are you all right?
How did you survive before I showed up?
I got lost.
Got lost?
I know you want to laugh. It's okay. You can laugh if you want to.
I'm very patient with silly people. That was when he met you.
Top sports attractions on KBC Channel 1. In July, Kenya Morans face off against the DRC, Egypt and Senegal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt from 1st to 3rd of July 2022. Also in July, Kenya plays South Africa in Rugby League test matches in Nairobi with the return fixtures set for October. Still in July, watch the World Athletic Championships from 15th to 24th July live from Oregon, USA as Kenyan athletes seek glory. Followed by the 22nd Commonwealth Games from 28th July to 8th August live from Birmingham, England. In August, join our coverage of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships from the 1st to 6th of August 2022 from Cali, Colombia. Then, in November, catch the World Half Marathon Championships on 13th November from Yangzhou, China. Now that's what sets us apart as KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, is a particularly disturbing phenomenon which affects all regions of the world, in particularly women and girls in the coastal region.
After I was assaulted, it was really, really hard for me to get justice, because this is somebody who's, we have no relationship, we don't know each other, just a client at my place of work.
And these are our children. They have been abused. And most of the time, the perpetrator is usually the relative, the neighbor, as not a stranger.
Because of the culture and where we come from, it's a bit difficult for sometimes people to pursue gender-based violence issues, or to pursue justice.
You're watching In the Headlines on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Now, Cabinet Secretary for ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, Joe Mucheru, has urged Kenyans to exercise respect and tolerance exhibited when supporting their preferred sport teams as the country heads into the general election. The CS was speaking at the unveiling of a sports bouquet of 8 major international sporting events that will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1.
Speaking at a Nairobi hotel during the launch of the KBC Channel 1 live sports bouquet, Cabinet Secretary for ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs Joe Mucheru said that Kenyans should propagate the unifying power of sport in other spheres of their lives.
I am certain that Kenyans will come together to experience and enjoy these sporting events: football, athletics, and rugby, and basketball. They all attract a diverse set of audiences that will cover close to 100% of our population.
The CS affirmed that the government will continue supporting KBC's transformation.
Equipping KBC with broadcast equipment, personnel, updated ICT infrastructure to ensure its success always remains a priority, not just for me in the ministry, but even for the President. Through ongoing institutional reviews, the government has developed transformation strategies to revitalize the operations of KBC and the Postal Corporation of Kenya.
The chair of the KBC Board of Directors, Engineer Benjamin Mainge, said that the unveiling of the KBC Sports Bouquet is in tandem with the station's rebranding.
This could not have come at a better time. The board has recently revamped and continues to oversee the upgrade of KBC broadcasting infrastructure. And that has seen improvement in the quality of our images on television. We have now better sound, and consistently we have steady signals around the country.
KBC Acting Managing Director Samuel Maina said the bouquet will revamp the sports content on KBC's radio, television and online platforms.
Those who love sports will have unlimited access to either watch or listen to their sporting events wherever they are. KBC is committed to ensuring uninterrupted free-to-air broadcast through various platforms I have outlined. You sit, watch, you sit, listen, or take it with you on the go on your mobile.
He appreciated the government support to KBC.
We appreciate the government of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta for continued support accorded to national broadcaster over the years to improve our capacity in broadcasting activities as well as improving the welfare of my staff.
NOC President Paul Tergat said that such sporting events will enrich the brand.
It is a partnership that when we work together, we want to see that KBC
become where it used to be, changing with time and giving us the content that we want to see every day.
KBC has free-to-air rights for the FIFA World Cup, FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers, Kenya vs South Africa Rugby League tests, the Senior and Under-20 Athletics Championships, the World Half Marathon Championships, the Commonwealth Games, and the DFB Pokal that will commence this Friday, the 1st of July, and run till May 2023.
That's the reason why we'll always pride ourselves as your true sports partner. Save the date. The FIFA 2022 World Cup is going to be broadcast from here, KBC Channel 1. Now, the county governments have received a cumulative 3.2 trillion shillings as equitable share of revenue since the fiscal year 2013-2014 to date. While launching the latest and third edition of the county fact sheet, the Commission on Revenue Allocation says that the money disbursed is evidence that counties have so far been consistently enjoying the benefits of devolution despite teething problems at different rates of absorption by various counties. Our reporter Alan Aoko was on standby with a breakdown of the numbers for us.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the latest county fact sheet by the Commission on Revenue Allocation shows that the devolved units are also struggling to absorb budgetary allocation, where the development vote is the biggest casualty.
As we unveil this fact sheet, the main issue here that every Kenyan should ask themselves is really, have you gotten value for this money? You need to know how much has come to your county. Ask yourselves, what has this money done in your county? And all these facts are available to you.
We have seen the first few years were very difficult. County assemblies didn't understand their legislative role. We saw in a number of counties where they didn't enact new finance acts every year, which is a requirement. It's a legal framework that counties use to correct revenues. But we have done a lot of trainings, a lot of induction for assemblies, and I can confirm that by the end, towards the end of the last 5 years, we have seen a lot of improvement in that regard.
The report shows Kiambu County has been the biggest receiver of conditional grants from the national government in the 10-year period at 6.4 billion, with Samburu receiving 1.7 billion shillings. Counties like Turkana, Marsabit and Nairobi enjoy the lion's share of the 3.2 trillion shilling equitable share of revenue to date. Some of the challenges counties are facing include matching staff with qualifications needed for fiscal planning.
Number one is employment of very well trained and experienced financial officers in our counties. Most of our CEC finance or chief officer finance, they are not, some of them don't even have a basic degree in accounting. They have not done a certified public accounts course. Yeah, they are not trained at the Kenya government, School of Government in Kabete. I think the first thing counties must do is to employ competent staff.
In the report, Nairobi contributes 2.2 trillion shillings or 28% to the Kenyan economy. Mount Kenya region as a block contributes 1.8 trillion shillings or 23% to the national economy. The Nyanza Western region contributes 1.5 trillion shillings. In other parameters, Kiambu was found to have the lowest poverty levels as a result of proper absorption of allocated revenue, with Thika Town leading in this regard. Murang'a County was found to have better access to safe drinking water.
Now you have that report. Remember, further details will always be available on our website. Now, Kenyans can now leverage on smaller wind turbines to harness household energy and substitutes for their other energy solutions. The turbines that are smaller in radius and portable can be placed on building tops to use wind for energy production. Energy experts are, however, saying that innovation uptick in the energy sector has been low in Kenya due to funding in the field of research and energy innovation.
Kenya stands out among African countries when it comes to wind energy production.
The Lake Turkana wind plant has a capacity of 310 megawatts, making it the largest project of its kind on the continent, with 365 wind turbines, each with a capacity of 850 kilowatts. According to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, 73% of the country experiences wind speeds of 6 meters per second or higher at 100 meters above ground level. However, Kenya's energy commercial readiness has been found to be low. The Principal Secretary at the State Department of Energy, Dr. Gordon Kihalangwa, says research has not been adequately funded to ensure innovation in the energy sector is sustained. He added that the research is critical in the development of clean energy and urged energy institutions to look into the possibility of increasing research funding.
The government put in so much money, maybe because the resources may not be enough, and for that matter, we've really not adequately funded research and innovation in this country. The institutions of higher learning that are really supposed to be the leaders, they have not really accomplished a lot because of certain limitations, and the limitations are basically finance.
According to research they conducted by the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, energy innovations uptake is not very high among Kenyans, saying there are various energy technologies that can be harnessed by Kenyans to power their households. Among the innovations is a smaller wind turbine that can be put on building rooftops that uses wind to produce power.
Part of the promotion of renewable energy in Kenya, one of the things we are doing is we do project implementation on renewable energy. We also do research on renewable energy. And what we have just presented was a baseline study. We wanted to know what's the status of renewable energy in Kenya. And we have observed that Kenya are really eager to embrace use of renewable energy, but there is a lot to be done as it was presented. There are many policy intervention, and some of the things we also to encourage Kenyans to adopt them.
Wind, in terms of huge wind parks, that is really well established with the Kipeto, the Lake Turkana, and even the Ngong being very key examples of that. However, the small wind, using small wind systems, those wind turbines with a radius of an area of less than 200 square meters, that one is not well taken up so far, because our thinking was, we suggested that the thinking should move towards small wind turbines that can be installed on top of buildings.
Away from Martyrs Energy, now some maize millers in Nakuru have closed shop due to an acute shortage of the commodity and a rise in the cost of maize. This comes as a directive on tax cuts for imported maize by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya are set to take effect on the 1st of July after gazettement that is set for today. Now, millers say that the situation still remains dire and the sector might suffer enormous losses from the reprieve that comes in too late.
The cost of a 90-kilogram bag of maize, which was going for 2,500 shillings last year, is now going as high as 7,000 shillings. In the last couple of weeks, Kenya had to bear the brunt of this rapid rise, with prices of the staple food going as high as 220 shillings per 2-kilogram packet. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya had partly faulted this on unscrupulous individuals hoarding the commodity, bringing a shortage that would hike the prices. To remedy this, the government had issued a directive halting the taxing of maize coming into the country to bring a reprieve to millers and consumers. Despite this, millers in Nakuru County say the reprieve might have come a little too late, with many closing shops before the awaited gazettement tomorrow.
Begu zimekuwa juu, mashamba imefinyika, fertilizer imeenda juu sana. Kwa hivyo hata wakilima acreage moja ukitarajia mtu atoe gunia 20, anatoa gunia 3, gunia 4.
Chairman of Small and Medium Scale Millers in Nakuru, Samuel Waweru, says millers are abandoning the venture at an alarming rate, citing an inability to afford importing the goods. The millers are now appealing to the government to make provisions for players in the sector.
Tegemeo ni mvua ndio hiyo ilichelewa. Ya pili, jua ndio hii limewaka. Ile mahindi ambayo watu walipanda ndio hiyo inaendelea kukauka kwa mashamba. Fertilizer wengi walipanda bila fertilizer. Kwa hivyo hiyo mimea ni mimea dhaifu, hakuna tarajio la hata mazao la mwaka mwingine.
Itakuwa shida kubwa sana kwa sababu Kenya nafikiri ni watu ya ugali peke yake wengi. Na hiyo ndio inasababisha hata mahindi kuwa kidogo.
Now we'll be keeping tabs on that, and if it is going to ease the cost of, maize flour on the shelves that is currently retailing at either 200 shillings or 213 shillings per 2 kg pack of maize flour, with maize millers there as well as farmers saying that the intervention of the government has come just a little bit too late. Now to the sporting arena, the national para-powerlifting team comprising of Joyce Wamboi and Helen Wawira says they are targeting a podium finish in the forthcoming Commonwealth Games in Buckingham. Now the games will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 between the 28th of July to the 8th of August this year.
Joyce Wambui was the first Kenyan para-power lifter to win a medal in the Commonwealth Games after winning a bronze medal in the plus 61 kgs during the 2014 edition in Glasgow.
Nilikuwa nimejaribu michezo kadhaa. Si kuingia tu powerlifting. Nilikuwa nimejaribu michezo ingine, lakini nikaona ya kwamba huu ndio mchezo ambao nina passion nayo. Inatoka tu kwa moyo, sisukumwi. Natamani tu niwe pale kwenye bench nikisukuma hizo chuma. Kwa hivyo ni kitu nimependa mwenyewe.
She also participated in the subsequent edition in Gold Coast, Australia in 2018 and finished third in the heavyweight category. Helen Wawira finished fourth in the lightweight category in Gold Coast. She went on to become the first Kenyan female para-powerlifter to qualify for the Paralympic Games in Tokyo in 2020, where she finished fifth in the under 41 kgs.
Powerlifting nilianza 2015 ambapo nilikuwa nimeenda mkutano wa disability ambapo tulikuwa tunafunzwa jinsi ya kukaa na ulemavu na mambo ya kujikubali. Niko ready sahi na nitaperform vizuri because niko prepared kupata medal.
The two have been working hard to improve on their lifts with their training partners Gabriel Magu and Peter Odhiambo under the experienced head coach David Wahore.
Kulingana na mazoezi wako sawa. Sahi mudi yao inaona tu medali, hakuna kitu ingine. Kwa sababu preparation inategemea kutoka mahali wanaishi, mahali vitu wanakula, vitu unaona na plasma kwao nyumbani.
Para powerlifting is one of the core sports in the Commonwealth Games.
All the best to the team now. Now the second round of the FIBA Africa World Cup qualifiers gets underway this Friday in Alexandria, Egypt, where Kenya will open their campaign against DRC Congo this Friday at the Borg El Arab Arena in Alexandria. The Kenyan team, coached by Wycliffe Award, will be looking to an average defeat after the Congolese team beat them 56-66 in their first round match played in Dakar, Senegal in February. Kenya will also face host Egypt and Senegal in other Group D games. Senegal currently tops the group with 5 points ahead of DRC Congo, Egypt and Kenya respectively. The five African teams will earn a spot at the FIBA Basketball World Cup set for 2023 that is scheduled to take place from the 25th of August to the 10th of September next year in Japan, Indonesia and the Philippines. Now the matches will also be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 from this Friday. Well, that puts a cap on matters in the headlines. Be sure to check out our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, for further details. For now, we take a quick breather. When you're back, we're going to be sampling the news dailies. Do not go away.
less than 2 months remaining to August 9th, battle lines have been drawn in Kakamega County, with candidates receiving clearance from the IEBC to vie for the seat. This Thursday, 30th June, tune in to KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m. for a live gubernatorial debate and get to know each candidate's development agenda for Kakamega County.
The Africa FIBA 2023 World Cup qualifiers enter the third phase from July 1st to 3rd. Kenya will contest for the coveted World Cup slots when it takes on hosts Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo and Senegal.
Guess who's on it? Woo! Which gives Kenya another chance to run an even better draw a beat!
Watch the matches live from Alexandria, Egypt on KBC Channel 1 starting on July 1st to 3rd. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Culture makes us have beliefs, values, mindsets, and practices. Through culture, we get to see the behavior pattern and norms of a specific group. Their rules, their assumptions, their perceptions, and try to understand the logic and reasoning behind those assumptions.
Family is normally not allowed into the compound, no.
If it is taboo to eat chicken, and you have eaten chicken, the entire village would know. And that's so and so's wife, he is a wolf.
Walikuwa wanapata adhabu. Ile adhabu inaitwa malu.
Every Friday at 9 p.m., KBC features different communities in Kenya for an opportunity to understand their specific belief or practice.
Kwenye mkulima.
Okay, aina hii mpunga inaweza kukuzwa pale popote Kenya, lakini inataka altitude ya not more than 2100 meters above sea level.
Kisha
tunataka ku-encourage youth wapende agriculture.
Usikose kujiunga nami Jumapili saa 9:30 nikupe uondo kamili.
Exactly 30 minutes past the top of the hour. Time for us to quickly look at how the dailies are, or what the dailies are holding for you this Thursday morning. And I start you off with the PD, where we begin off with matters education. This being termed as the shortest school term, which is now coming to an end. This is actually supposed to be coming to an end tomorrow. However, we know that some schools have already closed. In fact, some of them started closing as early as Tuesday. But just as it says that this first term of 2022 academic year comes to an end tomorrow, and this actually will go down as one of the shortest school term. This is even as next term is set to begin on July 11th, and even after that, again, schools are supposed to be closed for around 3 to 4 days, simply because of the August 9th general election. And also, as it turns out, parents will be again digging into their pockets for the purpose of school fees repayment, as well as the various other amenities that students will be needing as they go back to school beginning July 11th. Away from the education matters to elections, and now the poll agency has been ordered to include images of running mates in the ballot. This was just a ruling that was given by the High Court yesterday, and IEBC was told to include photos of running mates. This is both for the presidential candidates as well as the governor candidates. This ruling was given by Justice Anthony Mrima. In fact, he just issued the temporary order perioding the hearing and determination of a suit filed by lawyer Mugambi Imanyara. Initially, IEBC had wanted to stay away of the order over timeline concerns, but the court declined that request, since the printing of the ballot papers has not yet begun, but that is set to begin today. Now, manual voter list, IEBC now bows down to pressure. This obviously happened yesterday as IEBC was meeting the four candidates and presidential candidates, so to speak, and Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Party, insisted that the manual register also needed to be printed. This is even as Agano Party as well as the Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance still stuck with the digital register. But IEBC was very categorical, saying that much as they just will be printing the manual register, still the digital register will remain their primary form of identification. And if that fails, that's when they say that they will make sure they make a provision for all the 10 fingers of an individual to be used to be identified. Of course, that simply means that perhaps if your thumb finger cannot be identified, they will go ahead to make sure the remaining 9 perhaps could be identified. If that fails, then they will use the alphanumeric format, which simply means submitting your either copy of ID or passport for those details to be used as identification. And then if again all of this fails, that is just when they might resort to the manual register. This is even as a various host of issues were raised by the various presidential candidates, again key among them being the making of public of the KPMG report. As we said, IEBC just has released the details, but it hasn't yet made the audit report public. And again, also one of the issues that came to fore was the procurement of the election materials. Of course, the KIMS kit for identification of voters, the BVR for transmission, as well as just which mechanism was used for the company that is going to be used to print the ballot papers. These are just some of the issues, among others, that IEBC was trying to iron out as they met the candidates yesterday. So even as this is happening today, all eyes are now on the Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance. This is as they are set to unveil their manifesto at the Kasarani ground. So this is D-Day for them. So clearly a lot is being expected and anticipated by Kenyans in what is going to feature in this specific manifesto. And this also just comes after the specific alliance just has concluded the economic forum, which it was doing across the country, particularly in the 47 counties. Just trying to, hear the issues that Kenyans have, and particularly if they take office, what it is they are going to address. And lastly, before I just take it to Mike, Azimia also explains who will qualify for the 6,000 stipend. This is actually as they were speaking to a section of journalists on Tuesday evening. So they went ahead to explain who exactly will be qualifying for this 6,000 that they kept promising, or they've kept promising rather, if again told they take office. And largely what they say is that they are going to really heavily rely on data that will be provided by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and particularly this money will be going to the most vulnerable in our community, in our society, rather in the country, those living below the poverty line. And they also went ahead to explain that this program is not similar to the Inua Jamii. We know that so far Inua Jamii is a running program which is geared towards helping the orphaned, the elderly, as well as really the most vulnerable in our society. So they say that this is not similar to them, and moreover, they're really going to rely on KNBS statistics to just see and ascertain who will be qualifying for this amount. Mike.
Yes, and on the front page of the Daily Nation, front and center is the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga. And the big question is, fit to rule. On Tuesday, Raila Odinga and his presidential running mate Martha Karua had an interview at his current residence, and of course, many of his critics in previous weeks were asking, is he fit to rule? They were bringing up the age factor, and of course, his demeanor over the campaign trail that he's had, in contrast to his previous campaign trails. The Daily Nation is quoting, his firebrand politics is no more. So the fit to rule question has been brought up. However, his followers are saying that his demeanor is because of his seniority in politics, and now he's more stately and more prepared to take on the seat. Still on the front page of the Daily Nation, it still matters on the Kasarani 4. And of course, there's details on how they spent the last days before their demise. More on that later on. And of course, Sakaja is still on the dailies with regard to his degree from Team University. And now, the Ugandan government has brought up an investigation on the validity of his degree from Team University. And also, Wavinya is still also there in terms of the question of the validity of her university degree from Britain. More on that later on. Ray?
Copy of two dailies there, being the Standard and the Star. Let's start with the big reads, being that it's 39 days to go to the August 9th polls there. Revealed Uhuru's Dubai ports deal. This is quite controversial, and it has taken center stage in these two papers here. And it reads on the sports, DP Ruto's Kenya Kwanzaa Alliance exposes an offer to Dubai to a Dubai firm by the government to develop, expand and operate components of Mombasa, Lamu and Kisumu ports, as well as the Naivasha container depot, terming it as a clandestine move to hand over strategic national assets. There on this particular front page, it actually has a snippet of that particular letter dated 30th of March 2022, and that the agreement, the nomination of DP World under the Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement signed between the government of the United Arab Emirates and the government of the Republic of Kenya, signed on the 1st of March 2022. So what was inside that particular letter to the Dubai firm? That is Yatani's letter to the Dubai firm, that DP World FZE offered the right to develop, operate, manage and expand transport logistics services for 4 Kenyan facilities. These 4 facilities include the Mombasa port, the redevelopment of berths 11 to 14 into modern multi-purpose terminals. Mombasa Port create a special economic zone to align with the development of those berths. Lamu Port operation, development and management of container terminal. Lamu Port develop a 500-hectare special economic zone, and in the Naivasha Port develop a cold chain logistics park and ICD to serve central Kenya and cargo transfer to Kisumu. You want to read the details of this and why it came up yesterday, and what really this means for Kenya going forward in as far as matters of trade, as well as, you know, the issues that have been raised here, that these are national assets, so to speak. They have been fleshed out in detail, not only in the Standard, but also in the Star, with where the Star chooses to go with this. Let me just read how they have put it. State security auctioned 3 ports to Dubai firm. This is how the Star has put it there, and this is an allegation made by ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi there, who says that the deal to cede ownership and control of these particular assets was signed by National Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yetani. So we're going to be waiting to hear the response from National Treasury in regard to those allegations, so to speak. That's the front page of The Standard, with 39 days to go, that has also had a recap of what was happening yesterday when IEBC met the 4 presidential candidates there. And some of the political analysts have come to say that this is a move that is aimed at restoring confidence among the presidential candidates, as well as all others who are running for elective office come August 9th, that the IEBC is ready and willing to conduct a free, fair and transparent exercise in as far as the vote is concerned. There's a human interest story here. Art of bribery, how crooked officers operate. I'm sure, being on the road, we have seen this. There's quite a feature sometimes that was carried by one of the major media houses some time back that showed, how corrupt traffic police personnel, or rather police, they pick up bribes from rogue PSV vehicles there. They drop the note on the ground, and the cop goes and picks it with a baton. Apparently, the end of the baton has some sort of gum or so that you do not see when they're collecting this money. So, well, this is a detailed report to just highlight how this the art of bribery. Close look at how traffic officers operate on Kenyan's roads. So the bribery network also involves court officials and magistrates, and this turns the court corridors into a corruption negotiation space. Now, this is an article that has been fleshed out in this particular daily. I'm talking about The Standard. Care to read? Well, you can get your own copy. Now, police recruits are advised or socialized on how things are done here. In your form. In your form. That's quite an interesting article there. Then also, just to look at what the Star has on its front page, it's all about what was happening yesterday with the IEBC. Now Ruto backing Chebukati on the digital voter roll there. This is a U-turn, and says Kenya Kwanzaa supports electronic register only. On the corridors of justice, that today Nakuru Town West MP Samuel Arama will know his fate, whether he'll be thrown in jail or fined or sentenced, both following his conviction on a 60 million land fraud case. This is going to be known today, while all eyes are trained on the Azimio camp as it unveils its 5-pillar economic manifesto. That's just but a sneak peek of what the dailies have, highlighted, being June 30th, 2022, a day where it's your deadline, actually. If you haven't filed your returns to avoid penalties and such, well, you have up until the close of business today to do so. And also from the corridors of justice, remember that slain Agnes Tirop. May her soul continue resting in peace. Now, Ibrahim Rotich, the prime suspect in the killing of athlete Agnes Tirop, has applied for a plea bargain. Now, the lawyer said Rotich instructed him to take a plea bargain if the DPP approves in his application, and this is to just lessen the pain of the slayings of Agnes, the late Agnes's family, that they are going through since her killing occurred last year. However, on the other side is that Richard Warigi, the lawyer of the slain athlete's family, said they will only look into the plea bargain once it is before court. Doreen.
Right, now let's come back to the PD, and now we just take you through the details of what was really on the front pages. And perhaps you can begin by what Kenyans are expecting, even as Kenya Kwanzaa is set to unveil its manifesto today. Just going by what this specific article has highlighted, what sections of Kenyans are saying, as well as various political pundits, citing that the Azimio One Kenya manifesto, for instance, gave a very good general proposal on how to address various issues, but it was mean with suggestions on implementation, you know, particularly with the 6,000 and who's going to get that. And also this is also largely what informed, you know, the interview, better still the conversation that the flag bearer together with the running mate were having to a section of journalists, and again obviously to the entire country. But again, as Kenya Kwanzaa supporters and Kenyans in general await today's launch of the coalition's manifesto, there are just a few things that stand out about the way it has been created. This includes the wide consultations with every county and sector, leading to the signing of various charters. We have been seeing, you know, the coalition going to various parts of the country, in fact across the 47 counties, I think, in what is dubbed the Economic Forum, to just speak the minds of Kenyans on the issues that the coalition the issues that Kenyans would want the coalition to address if at all they take office. And we've also seen the alliance come up with various charters. We've seen them come up with the Women Charter, the Education Charter, Health Charter, the Youth Charter, and just recently, in fact yesterday, they launched what is called the Hustler Fund, where they said that they will disburse 50 billion to just go to this particular fund, again to just assist particularly the youths in the country. Also, employment and equities forming part of the biggest, forms the biggest conversation that brother Kenyans would expect to see addressed. The number of unemployed youth and the wealth distribution gap have been growing at a very high rate. If this is not addressed urgently, it can take us to a tipping point, which will lead to increased crime and anarchy. This is what some political pundits are saying. And again, this, as we speak, as we know, so far around 5.7 million youth out of the possible over 13 million are currently jobless. So clearly, this is one of those key issues that, you know, just a good number of Kenyans would want to see how best it's going to be addressed, and the mechanisms that are going to be put in place to ensure proper implementation and altogether sustainability of this. Also, the other one is the SMEs. You know, the creativity and productivity of this sector is sometimes mind-boggling. If well harnessed, it can lead to significant wealth and employment creation for a struggling economy such as ours. So we expect Kenya Kwanzaa to tell us how they will fund the SMEs and at what interest. They should also clarify, clearly explain how they will expand the markets, clarify and explain how they will do this. Again, we've also had them oftentimes in their rallies saying how they're going to ensure they put over, is it 100 billion to this sector to revive the sector. But again, what is also being awaited is the practicability of this, sustainability, and ensure that they clearly explain and clarify how they are going to do this. So again, just as we await for that to happen today, because as you've said, this is the day for them. There's clearly a lot that Kenyans are expecting to hear from the flag bearer there, and basically the various kind of issues that Kenya as a country we are facing and how they are going to address this. So away from that, the state now settles on 14 farms to drive off-grid electrification, whereby just as it turns out, the government now has selected 14 companies, and these companies, it's set to implement the Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access project for the underserved and low-density counties. Now, the Ministry of Energy yesterday unveiled the list of these 14 companies in which this project will be undertaken. And as the government rushes to fulfill its agenda of universal access to electricity by 2026 under the third medium plan. So what the state says is that now they expect the 14 companies to diligently deploy adequate resources to ensure the combined target set for them. The Ministry of Energy also will disburse 390 million to these 14 companies that have been selected and listed over the same period that the sale are made. But so far, as it also turns out, is that the 10 solar service providers have sold around 96,000 solar home systems. This is connecting over 400,000 people using electricity through solar energy. Remember that this is the plan of the state to ensure they provide universal energy access, also given at a time whereby we're really trying to move to what we call the green energy, or if you may, the clean energy. And this is just one of those forms that not just the state or Kenya, so to speak, but this is also what the globe is trying to employ, just to ensure that, again, we, with the high cost of fuel, high cost of electricity, this is just some of the forms of energy, what we call the renewable form of energy that the state is trying to employ to ensure that Kenyans can have access to energy. Mike.
Yes, and on matters cost of living, the government is planning to revive a subsidy scheme for LPG gas supplies starting July. VAT slashed from 16% to 8% in a move that comes as a relief to consumers. More on that is the Treasury has cut half the VAT charge on cooking gas. The Finance Act 2022 cut the tax on liquefied petroleum gas LPG supplies from the current 16% to 8%. The significant cut comes a year after a parliament reinstated 6% VAT on cooking gas, which together with the rally in crude prices has seen the cost of the 13 kg LPG rise by 900 shillings since June of last year. Just a quick look at the numbers. 900 shillings is the amount by which the cost of 13 kg gas cylinder has risen since last year, and 470 million shillings is what the state has allocated towards revival of the LPG subsidy scheme. Still on matters cost of living, teachers are rationing food because of the high cost of living. Now, on the Daily Nation, they're quoted saying, your son or daughter could come home thinner this week. So more on that is principals and head teachers are in a dilemma over the cost of living, and of course they can't raise the school fees because they can't change up the school fees in the middle of the year, because there was already a budget that was set at the beginning of the year. The teachers now find themselves in a tight corner as they can't raise fees. And of course the year has 4 terms because third term of last year spilled over into 2022. And they said things may get worse when they open next term. The Kenya Secondary School Heads Association chairperson Ndimuli Kahi said that the price increases have put schools in a difficult situation. And Kesha, KESSHA, has since said that the Ministry of Education is requesting schools to be supplied with grains directly from the National Cereal and Produce Board at cheaper prices. But also Mr. Kai said that at the moment Kesha cannot advise principals to increase fees as it's an illegality and against the Ministry of Education guidelines. Tough times ahead in terms of those in school right now. Ray?
Now, if you're talking about tough times ahead, you just know that if you fail to file your tax returns by close of business today, the KRA has been empowered to auction your assets as a tax defaulter. This is captured in the Finance Act 2022 that has granted the taxman, that is the Kenya Revenue Allocation, the power to sell the said property through either a public auction or private treaty within 2 months after notifying the defaulting taxpayer. So what are we talking about? The assets that are being targeted in this, we're looking at land, buildings, an aircraft, a ship, motor vehicle, or any other property which KRA may deem sufficient to serve as security for unpaid taxes. How about in your here? Have you filed yours? Now, the government targets to raise 1.2 trillion shillings in the financial year 2022-2023, an equivalent of 15.3% of the GDP, which is up from last year's target of 1.8 trillion shillings in the current fiscal year that is ending actually today. So now, if you do not file and you happen to fall into this category, well, know that the Finance Act 2022 has given the taxman those powers to auction defaulting taxpayers' a little bit, you'll be notified about this particular move and given 2 months to comply. I want to believe so. So we have seen institutions that have found themselves and farms that have found themselves in such a situation, and one is a brewer, Kerosha, where the KRA Commissioner James Githi Mburu said that Kerosha has failed to pay a cent in duty from beer sales since March after its reopening. That's quite a read there when you look at matters business as captured by this particular paper. And talking about business is that, give or take, the indicative value of the shilling against the dollar still remains at around 117.79. That is 117 shillings and 79 cents. This is an all-time high. We don't think this is going to abate, given that the Kenyan shilling now value has dropped further against the greenback due to increased dollar demand across the sectors and low inflows of dollars. Those who look at shares and such, looking at where to invest, the biggest winners yesterday were included Kapchurwa Tea, whose price went up by 9.46% to 107. TPS East Africa, the price was 13 shillings and 80 cents, which is a 9.5% increase. Also, Safaricom shares increased by 6.64%, while East African Breweries shares increased by 6.28%. However, there were also losers, including Everready, Crown Plains, Unga Group, Standard Group, and Britam Holdings. What I heard from somewhere, and I'm sure this is quite true, is that you need to diversify your source of income. You cannot just stay stuck in one place and thinking that things are going to change. You need to diversify. On that note, we take a quick breather, and entertainment is going to be coming your way in not too long. Just to remind you that set a date, KBC Channel 1 has already unveiled its sports bouquet of live events that are going to be relayed to you right here through our channels, including not only KBC Channel 1, but also sister station Y254 and the various radio stations, including the FIFA 2022 World Cup that is slated for December. We are indeed your true sports partner. Some of the stories that we're keenly focusing on is that Kenya Kwanzaa is going to be making public its 5-pillar manifesto, and we are going to be there keeping watch to just find out, to let you know what is contained in that particular manifestos, to enable you make the right decision ahead of the polls that are slated for 39 days from now. That is August 9th, or rather August 9th there. But what is very important today is that you need to file your returns. If you haven't, given KRA now can auction you. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant day ahead. And I leave you in the capable hands of Mike and Doreen to take you through matters entertainment. Thursday is a new Friday right here.
With less than 2 months remaining to August 9th, battle lines have been drawn in Kakamega County, with candidates receiving clearance from the IEBC to vie for the seat. This Thursday, 30th June, tune in to KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m. for a live gubernatorial debate and get to know each candidate's development agenda for Kakamega County.
Top sports attractions on KBC Channel 1. In Kenya Morans face off against the DRC, Egypt and Senegal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt from 1st to 3rd of July 2022. Also in July, Kenya plays South Africa in Rugby League test matches in Nairobi with a return fixture set for October. Still in July, watch the World Athletic Championships from 15th to 24th July live from Oregon, USA as Kenyan athletes seek glory. Followed by the 22nd Commonwealth Games from 28th July to 8th August live from Birmingham, England. In August, join our coverage of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships from the 1st to 6th of August 2022 from Cali, Colombia. Then, in November, catch the World Half Marathon Championships on 13th November from Yangzhou, China. Now that's what sets us apart as KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best.
The global music industry is valued at $63 billion. What impact has technology had on this particular industry? To take us through this conversation is none other than Wanjiko Koinange, the head licensing at mdundo.com. I'm Regina Manyara.
Thank you for coming through. Mdundo.com is an African music service. We exist to create a connection between the artists and the users on the continent.
How does this particular platform, or rather this service that is Mdundo.com, aid artists in getting their works out there?
Mdundo has about 2 million songs that we've onboarded over the last 10 years. And we have 17 million users. And that's just the ones who have access to the online space and digital space. And so what we do is connect those users to the music that is being made by the African artists.
Let's talk about piracy as a challenge when it comes to the music industry.
What we do is create a service where artists can come from wherever you are in the country or in the continent for that matter, upload your song. The rights still remain with you as an artist. You can control where it goes. If you don't like the service, you can take it down. So we're trying to want to make it transparent and make it accessible to anybody who believes they have a talent to share with the world.
There's been a push and pull between our local artists arguing that they're not earning enough from their IPs. How do you tackle that? How do you ensure that those who are on board with you as mdundo.com get to earn a living?
Every song downloaded has an ad. That ad has been paid for by somebody. So our commercial team is very good at finding partners who pay for this. This is then split to the artist on a 50-50 basis. So regardless, and regardless of whether you've made one download or 5,000 downloads, you have some revenue coming to you every 6 months. And this is done on your share of downloads. And so what's that doing? What that is doing is putting money in everyone from the biggest artists to the emerging artists in their pockets to help you sort of grow your brand, grow your skill set. Also just, money is good to have, for your talent, for your skill.
I enjoy music, and a majority of Kenyans do too. How do I get this service, mdundo.com?
We have 17 million users across the continent. Our focus markets at this point is Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Nigeria, and Ghana. That's not to say that we don't focus on other countries across the continent. However, anyone across the world can listen to your content.
Any challenge when it comes to matters of competition?
A lot of people will say other services, Spotify, Boomplay, we don't see those guys as competition because we are all trying to fix a problem in the industry, which is piracy. So what we think is our biggest competition is that piracy. And this is why our service exists as it does.
Can everybody consume what is already on mdundo.com? Is it free?
It is free. We care about your coin. We care about your, connecting with your music. So it is free for anybody to use.
How can the local music industry leverage on such digital services?
Understanding who your audience is, build a social media is there to also grow your audiences. So using those free services that are there on the market is something that I would really advise. And Mdundo is we really feel passionately about even letting you know what the services are.
What is your take in regard to the introduction of digital tax and more so the signing into of the data protection bill?
I would challenge both the creators of this policy to understand what is happening on the ground, first of all, before they implement policies that are in place. Because some of them, we don't know who you're going after the wrong person. You're going after the person who's struggling to make money, and trying to make something for themselves instead of going for those people who are generating from that money.
Well, thank you very much for your time. There you have it. The way is digital, especially for local artists. They need to get on board and take advantage of the already available services to ensure that their listeners can access their products and as such stem piracy. I'm Regina Manyara, you're watching KBC Channel 1.
Karibu tena sana. From that amazing conversation there with Regina, right now we come back to studio and we speak to our guest of the day. Of course, Matters Entertainment. Be Classic ndo msanii wetu wa leo. Vipi?
Poa sana.
Niko poa, weje?
Fresh mazee. Naona umependeza kinyama sana.
Asante, nashukuru. Haya, tuanze tu kwa wakati ambapo ulianza muziki 2017, lakini unasema hiyo time haikuwa professional na ni kitu nimeona na wasanii wengi sana, na wasanii wengi wanasema walianza muziki mwaka fulani lakini ime take time before waanze professionally. Ilikuwa vipi kwako? Because those are 3 years later before you started now professionally.
Yes, unajua nile 2017 nilo nafanya muziki but unatoka kukusupport as in una connection kwa media, una connection kwa radio. Nile tu unaimba tu mtaani kuimba na mabeshte, unaenda unasikiza ghetto nini vitu kama hizo. Sa official mimi nilianza muziki 2020 ile as in saa kwanza kuchezwa kwa TV, kwa radio. Ndio watu kunijua mpaka leo wamejua Be Classic. Loi uko na mimi hapa kwa TV ndio official.
Wako umefika hapa KBC Channel 1.
Yeah.
So between 2017 and 2020 ni match haikuwa professional. Yeah. Kuna wimbo wote ulitoa, uliimba matu nile na mabeshte na watu pale mtaani?
Nilianzaga na ngoma siasa, nikaimba gama.
Ngoma ya siasa?
Kampeni. Azin kuingia studio nilianza na ngoma kampeni. Nikafanya ngoma kampeni, so huyo mheshimiwa kama amepita katika hizo kampeni zake akanipeanga don, nikafanya ngoma yangu sasa ile ya kawaida, but sasa sina connection. Ni ile tuko tunasikiza tu ghetto na masela na ile unawapelekea watu CD mtaani nini, mwanangu sikizeni goma langu ili nini, wanaruka nalo hivyo. So nikawa nazidi kuandika tu ngoma but sikuwa nimepata watu professional kufanya kazi studio kubwa vitu kama hizo. So 2020 official
ndio kaanza officially. Na hii time yote ilikuwa pale Mombasa?
Nilikuwa kwetu ni Taveta, by the way nimezaliwa Taveta, the home 006 count. Ndio maana nasikia Be Classic 006.
Okay.
Taita Taveta.
Sasa hii wimbo ya siasa, hebu tuambie ilikuwa kwanza inaitwa vipi?
Nilikuwa naimbia mheshimiwa, ni mambo ya nani, alikuwa chama cha Jubilee. Ilikuwa ni inaitwa Waweru tu, Waweru tena. Tano tena.
Nini ilifanya utoe haswa wimbo wa siasa? Because 2017 pia ilikuwa hapo wakati wa elections.
Ndio. Ni ile, so unajua si kama vijana tumepambana na maisha, so unaona ni kitu gani chenye unaweza fanya kwenye live sasa ili uweze kujisaidia kimaisha. So mimi nilifuata mheshimiwa, maisha yangu ilikuwa ngumu sana. Nikafuata mheshimiwa, nikamwambia mheshimiwa bana, mimi nataka kuimbia ngoma kampeni. But mimi sitaki unilipe sasa. Nataka kuingia kwenye muziki, lakini sasa nataka ulipie tu studio nienda nikurekodia ngoma. Juu sasa hata sina doa kwenda studio. So akanirekodia. Ndio hivyo sasa mimi nikaanza kupata chance hapo sasa kuimba.
Kwa hivyo wewe haukuwa unaimba siasa simply because ni time ya election to pass a message. Wewe ulikuwa tu unaimbia tu mheshimiwa specifically. Kwa sasa unapata time za election kama vile time 2017 hata saa hizi wasanii wanajitokeza kabisa kwa wingi na wanaimba kuhusu masuala ambao kama wa Kenya inatuhusu. Ukiangalia kama mambo ya economy, mambo ya injustice, mambo ya vijana na kazi. Wewe ulikuwa tu ile kuimbia tu mheshimiwa, yani kumsifu.
Kumsifu as in ndio unatafuta opportunity vile utasaidika yani. So nilianza na hiyo ngoma kampeni. Juu wase walikuwa wananiambia mtaani, bro kuna talent nini? Hii talent yako inaweza kusaidia. So nilikuwa nawaimbia gatungo ngoma za kina Raivani makava vitu kama hizo mtaani, ile mbogi na kusifu mwanangu ni mkali. Hivyo ndo mwisho wa siku nikaenda. Nikaamua acha niingie sasa kwenye muziki serious.
So 3 years later 2020 ukianza sasa vile uliingia professionally kwa wimbo wako wa kwanza ilikuwa gani?
Ngoma yangu ya kwanza ilikuwa ni I Swear, Baby I Swear, inaitwa Baby I Swear. Alafu so nikakuja nikafanya Mabawa, Faraja, then nikaja sasa nikafanya collab na Nadia Mkami. Hiyo ndo ngoma ilinitoa sasa watu wakaanza kujua Big Class.
Pia ukianza kuimba hata hiyo professionally 2020 bado ilikuwa Mombasa,
lakini sasa Mombasa nilikuwa naishi Nairobi.
Ulikuwa kuja Nairobi?
Yes, nilichukuliwa na msee mwenye aliamua kunisupport. Nilikujanga Nairobi 2018, so maisha ikakuwa ngumu sana, nikarudi home. Unajua nilikuwa sina place ya kukaa, nilikuwa sina mtu yote Nairobi mwenye najua, hivyo tu ile kupambana. Life ikafika mahali 2019 ndo nikarudi. So 2020 mimi nikapata msee akaamua kunisupport, ndo nikarudi sasa kwenye muziki serious.
Kwa hivyo kufanya muziki sio rahisi.
Sio rahisi, lazima uwe na pesa bana. Kama una pakea ni utabidi tu umesugua bench.
Wanasema kama una resources, doing art, doing music.
Noma sana.
Si rahisi. Unaweza compare kufanya muziki because much as haikuwa professionally huo wakati, but how would you compare doing music in the coast na Nairobi, because unapata pia wasanii wengi wenye tu hata si kutoka coast, just any part of the country, wanasemanga Nairobi ndio penye kuna kila kitu, opportunities ziko hapa, ukitaka media zote ziko hapa, fans wengi wako hapa na Nairobi. So wanasema kufanya muziki kwa different parts of the country, counties zingine kidogo ni ngumu.
As in kuna vitu vile tofauti. Unajua Nairobi ndo tuseme ndo the major, ndio? Yani kuna media zote. Kuna media zote. Na hizo kaunti zingine sio hazina mashabiki. Zina mashabiki wa kawaida kuenda ku YouTube kukusikiza wewe kama msanii. Lakini sasa kupeleka huo muziki wako kuwatambulisha. Umeona ndo unakuta kuna tofauti hapo. Na kama mtu anaimba akiwa coast, lazima kuje Nairobi. Hakikisha ameshika Nairobi ndo watu wengine watamsupport. Umeona, watamsikiza, sio kumsupport. So lazima uko Nairobi ndo ufanye muziki. Umeona, juu huko ndo kila kitu. Sasa huwezi niambie uko Taita, nimepigwa simu kasa hivi interview ya asubuhi. Ningekuwa Taita imagine. Alafu ndo nakuja interview hapa, ningefika sanga. Unaona?
Tungetumia Zoom.
Sometimes sasa kuna opportunity yenye umepata kama hiyo, hata wataki mambo na Zoom, wanakutaka studio. Alafu unashangaa wewe ni msanii pale mtaani, alafu una mtu kukusupport. Hata elfu yenyewe kutoka huko kuja mpaka hapo una. So inabidi interview inaenda hivyo. Lakini ukiwa paka Nairo, oya mwanangu ni aje? Ni kuna vile mwanangu nimeitwa interview alafu sikupoa. Hebu nichekie hata 300 hapo 200 400. Unapanda tu mati hapo unafika interview, ama una request Uber unafika interview.
Lakini tuseme ukweli, unajua kila mtu hawezi toshea hapa Nairobi. We cannot all fit in the capital city. Kwa mtazamo wako pia kama msanii, because at least umekuwa 2 years in the industry professionally since 2020. Ni nini inaweza fanywa pengine na serikali ama the various stakeholders to ensure wana empower these different parts, the different counties, ndio pia wasanii katika hizi counties zilizoko wapate chances and opportunities, because like I'm saying, wote hata msanii watukana hizi wote wazikuja hapa Nairobi, wa Kilifi, Kwale, wapi unajua? So nini zinafanyika?
Unajua sete juu hakuna vile unaweza beba timu media upeleke Mombasa, kila county yake media. Umeona? Media zipo as in zile za mtaa za county. Unajua kuna kuanga na media kama hizo.
Hata za estates ziko.
Umeona? Ila sasa cha msingi mimi ningekuwa hata rais sasa hivi. Mimi yani kuna sheria ningepitisha, sheria moja sana yani.
Sheria gani ungepitisha?
Yani watu wa support talent yani. Unaona, wa support muziki wa Kenya. Tukua hata na mtu mwenye anaongelea mambo ya muziki. Unaona serikali ya Tanzania inathamini muziki sana kwa sababu kina Diamond wanasupportiwa na serikali yao, ndio maana wamekuwa kina Diamond, kina Harmonize, kina nani. Umeona? So pia serikali ya Kenya ikisupport muziki wa Kenya. Juu mimi naamini kuna vijana wana talent sana huko nje lakini hawajui wafanye nini. Umeona? Hizo opportunity wanazikosa. Kwa sababu serikali kama support muziki serious, umeona, inakuwa ngumu sasa.
Lakini wanasema, unaona, ukipeana comparison ya serikali ya Tanzania vile wana support wasanii hata pale Nigeria, because when you look at art in Tanzania and particularly also in Nigeria, it's big compared to even our country. But wengi wanasema kwamba content ya wasanii wa Kenya ndio shida. Ndio maana haipati support inavyostahili. Unasema vipi?
Ushasikiza ngoma zangu?
Nimezisikiza.
Umesikiza? Hiyo content unaisikiaje?
Unajua hizi kaniuliza hii swali nikikuuliza.
Sasa ndio hivyo nasema, azin ukisema eti wasanii wa Kenya eti hawana content poa, hiyo ni uongo bana. Wasanii wa Kenya wanaimba bana, wasanii wa Kenya ni wanoma.
Tuseme tu hapa mimi
wengine hatuwezi, ni ile tu ni hawaamini. Tuseme
tu mimi nimeongea kwa niaba ya vile ambavyo wa Kenya wengi wao wanasema. Na kwa mfano, ukichukua mfano tuseme hata ukiangalia media nyingi, pengine seme radio kwa mfano, just up until recently ungepata wanacheza ngoma za Nigeria, za Tanzania, ya Kenya maybe 1, 2, 3, na maongezi mingi ilikuwa kwamba wasanii wa Kenya shida ni content, na pia hata kama ule mwenye akona content hai sustain.
Ni media gani inacheza ngoma moja ya Kenya
nyingine
tofauti?
Nimesikiza nyimbo zako.
Unajua azin mimi naamini si Kenya ni wanoma sana. Hata hizo nchi zingine niko sure zinatuogopa.
Okay.
Ni ile tu yani ndio hivyo yani, serikali tu ya Mwesai kwa serious tu na acha tu support talent ya Kenya.
Kwa hivyo unasema wasanii wa Kenya wako na content
mbaya sana, ni wanoma bana. Wasanii wa Kenya ni wanoma, wanaimba muziki mzuri. Ni muziki yani unakaa kwa unasikia vibe yani, unaona? Ati mapenzi bila pombe ulisikia wapi? Yani kitu vibe tu na kwa mahali tu una enjoy, umeona? Unajibamba.
Okay, interesting. So how would you describe your music style? Style yako ya muziki ni gani?
Mimi naimba Afro Bongo, umeona? Nani club banga, vitu guys.
Your recent song ni For You ama ni gani?
Ngoma yangu mpya inaitwa Moyo. Ndio tumekuja kuitambulisha hapa hivi. Bonge la ngoma hatari sana.
Ngoma hatari. Yaani unasema mafans waende wai watch, waisikize.
Pale YouTube mazee.
Na iko na content.
Hatari. Mimi naimbaga kitu yenyewe hata ukisikiza tu hivi una vibe nayo, unaenda nayo tayari.
Tuambie kuhusu your recent song.
Ngoma inaitwa Moyo. Ni ngoma nimefanya na Gidi Vibes. Producer mnoma sana mazee. Tulipatana studio nikamwambia mwanangu niko na kitu. Moyo ni ngoma inazungumzia azini msichana fulani hivi umempenda, yani anakunyima usingizi. Unawaza juu yake. So una plan tu harusi mandoa nini hivyo yani.
Content yako vile ambavyo una create, because ukiongea kuhusu your latest song ama your recent song Moyo, una describe msichana fulani unapenda nini. So vile ambavyo una create content yako, nini wewe unaangalia? Ni vitu umepitia kimaisha?
Kuna sometime unapoandika ngoma, unaweza andika ngoma labda ya maisha. Yenye unapitia na yenye wengine wanapitia. Ama saa nyingine unaweza andika love song kupitia nani, labda best yako, mpenzi wake vile wanaishi nini. Azini inakupea kitu fulani hivi yani amazing, unaweza uwa.
So hii Moyo nini ilikuwa ni kitu ulikuwa unapitia? Kitu na rafiki akipitia, what was it?
Moyo azeni si mimi, Moyo ninajimbia mimi mwenyewe na
unajimbia mwenyewe.
Na pia inashika wase wengine wenyewe wako kwa hali yangu. Azeni mimi nimependa msichana fulani hivi, umeona? Msichana ananinyima usingizi, nampenda really.
Kwa pia nyimbo zako kadhaa ni mapenzi.
Mimi naimbia mapenzi, unajua mapenzi ndio imeteka dunia, umeona? Naimbia mapenzi pia, naimba za maisha pia bado. Kuna za kuachwa pia, lonely, shanpat.
Okay.
Vitu guys.
Za maisha ni kama gani?
Za maisha ni kama usone kona jina uko nje bado. Mwenzenu bado nakula kuhasa. Wengine yamejipa ila kwangu bado. Naimba sana ila wanasema bado. Najaribu kujisaulisha bado. Ni wapi nilipokosea bado. Vitu guys. So naimbilia maisha yani.
Hizi pia ni vitu zenye umepitia, vitu umeona hapa na pale. Ulisema hapo awali kwamba umefanya collabo pia na Nadia. Nani mwingine umefanya collabo naye?
Nimefanya collabo na Nadia, nimefanya collabo na Mario, nimefanya collabo na Aroboy. Sana Ipei, sister yangu mkubwa, umeona.
Wakati ambapo unachagua wale wasanii unafanya nao collabo, nini haswa unaangalia?
Mimi naamini mtu akiamua kufanya kazi na wewe ni juu kuna talent.
Talent tu?
Talent tu inakufanya unafanya kazi na msee yote. Ni talent yako, alafu unaambia unamtumia tu, unajua wasanii wa Kenya ni watu wako na love bana. Unamtumia tu ngoma, unamwambia bro bana, hebu sikia hiyo doba. Anakuambia mwanangu kali sana hii. So bro fanya hivi, nimekuwekea mafuta hapo mwanangu, kuja studio tufanye kitu. Hivyo tu, simple tu.
Ukisema talent, unajua na find should I say like you are amongst the artists naongea nao wanasema kwamba talent kitu cha kwanza. Unapata wengi wanasema talent it's like 1% or 2%. Hii ingine yote ni just minus talent. Kazi unaweka pale, discipline unaweka pale, commitment unaweka pale. So ukisema tu unaangalia talent pekee, hizi zingine zote huo uangalie.
Si ndio maana nakwambia mtu, unajua mtu akiwa talented anakuanga na hizo vitu zote.
Hapana.
Kwa nini? Acha nikuulize swali.
Hiyo nakata.
Ukiwa talented lazima ukuwe na hizo issues, hizo vitu zote.
Ukiwa talented si necessarily lazima ukuwe mtu discipline.
Unakuwa humble, unaongea tu na wasee fresh, au na star kupull sijui nini. Hivyo yani.
Unasema ukiwa na talent hizi zingine zote ni lazima mtu lazima
zinakufuata. Mtu mwenye talent anakuanga na respect zake. Kabisa.
That's interesting. So ukitafuta mtu ama ukiangalia msanii unafanya naye collab wetu cha muhimu na cha msingi kwanza ni talent.
Talent manze. Kama una talent mimi hakuna vile naweza kutaka kufanya kazi na wewe. Mimi naona ni kitu kizuri, unapelekea wa Kenya pale vile, na tuko hapa kwa ajili ya kuwapa burudani. Mbona isifanyike?
Mbona isifanyike? Jani yako ya muziki tangu ianze professionally 2020 mpaka saa hizi. Yes, hapo awali ulisema kwamba kulikuwa na issues with resources, but on a larger scale imekuwa vipi?
Sasa hivi nashukuru Mungu, silali nje, nalala kwa nyumba. Naamka napiga 1 2 3, naweza lipa bills. So maisha yanaenda, so mimi nashukuru.
So muziki at least sema muziki ina pay your bills. Unlike vile wengi wanasema kwamba kidogo muziki si rahisi vile. Jipia hujakaa sana kwa industry.
Sijakaa, lakini si ndio maana nakwambia talent yako ndio inakufanya watu wakuelewe, si ndio?
Okay, so fans wako expect nini?
Bana, mimi niko hapa kwa ajili ya kuwapa burudani, na kama leo hivi nimekuja kuwatambulisha ngoma yangu mpya inaitwa Moyo. Na mazee wategee vitu vingi sana vikali kutoka kwangu. Ngoma zangu solo, collabo pia zinakuja nyingine hatari za kimataifa.
Za kimataifa. Kuna msanii ambaye una collabo naye kutoka nje ya?
Wapo wengi, lakini sasa hivi ni chini ya maji, ni mambo ya management.
Uko na management kwa hivyo?
Mimi niko na management. Timu yangu kina Ken, Hashpapi, Dogotila, watu kibao, Wakilibwire, Sean. So tunaenjoy.
Wewe ulianza from the onset, you had a management?
Hapana, nikianza muziki si nimekwambia nimekuanga mwenyewe.
I'm saying professionally.
Nimeanza na management. Ndio msali niamua kunichukua Kambongo ni support. Yeye ndo amenitengeneza leo hii nimekuwa big classic, so mimi namrespect sana. Kevo place yuko mazee, God bless.
How is it working under a management?
Ni kitu poa, kwa sababu huyo msee amenichukua kama kijana wake na akai Kenya na sijai kummeet. Ushanipata? So
anakumanage virtually.
Kuna wasee tunapiga nao kazi, lakini yako huko ako nje huko. Umeona? So tunapiga tu kazi na ana support.
Kuna msanii wa Kenya ambaye unaangalia tuseme una admire?
Na admire? Big classic na kukubali sana.
Unajiadmire mwenyewe?
Mbaya sana.
Hakuna msanii ambaye like an artist?
Unaona wasanii wa Kenya, kuna wasanii wa Kenya wengi sana wanafanya kazi poa na mimi nawapenda sana.
Lakini mwisho wa siku unajiadmire mwenyewe?
Big classic ni mbaya. Kijana sio poa.
Yaani unajua kwa sababu nakuuliza hii swali ni unapata yani ukiwa msanii, not even msanii, just anyone in any profession. Skiza kwanza. Skiza. In any profession, in any field, before ufike pale, unajua there's that someone that you look up to, not necessarily because you want to be like them, but yes unapenda kazi yao. Vile umesema nimekubali na unapenda kazi yao, but in terms of even mentoring you. Unja mtu naangalia ni mtu anasema anaweza kumenta, anakuonesha mwelekezo sababu hujakuwa pale wewe. Ndio umeanza tu hujakuwa pale.
Okay. Kenya ama Kenya tu peke yake.
Kenya, beyond Kenya.
Okay, role model wangu mimi Tanzania pale
kitu kama hiyo sasa.
Ni nani? Ni Raivani, alafu hapa Kenya ni Calligraph.
Sasa ndio nilikuwa nakuuliza.
Hiyo sasa nilikuwa nakuelewa, nilikuwa nafikiri unasema ni big classic pale mtu mbadi.
Najua unajiamini wewe, kama msanii unajiamini.
Ndio.
Kwa hivyo sana Willy Raivani na
OG
Calligraph. Wasanii ambao tuseme they're like your role models.
Wanapiga kazi poa. Wanajiamini, yani unaona shanipata. Hiyo ndio kitu mimi upenda. Lazima uamini kazi yako. Na mimi naamini kila mtu unapoanzisha biashara yako lazima waonyeshe hao watu hiyo biashara yako iko aje ndio ainunue, si ndio?
True.
Ndio hivyo sasa.
Unaona unapata wanasema kuwa wasanii wengi they really don't understand the business side of it. Huwa sana wameegemea talent zao. That mimi niko na talanta and so that's it. With that I'm good to go. Do you think that is also what is making good number of artists not to break forth kwa market? Yani muziki hata isiwasaidie, isiwalipie bills because hawaelewi the business side of music.
Ndio maana nakwambia azini msanii lazima ukuwe na team.
Kuna wale wenye wana team. They don't have a management. Na wameshindwa kupata management.
Sasa hapo itabidi management inapatikana kwa kazi yako. Ndio maana nakwambia ukiwa na talent.
Wajitume tu kwanza.
Ukijituma tu. Jumia hata hiyo management haikunichukua juu eti walikuja wakanitoa eti kijijini. Walisikia kazi yangu ndio wakanichukua. Umeona? So kazi yako ndio inakufanya upate management. Fanya tu kazi poa, muombe Mungu, kuwa humble. I say God atakuletea tu mabaraka mazi.
So wewe fanya part yako zingine zita.
Alafu ukiwa na team ndo inakutengenezea msanii wewe biashara. Juu mimi sasa nikifeli nitampigia manager, ya mwanangu. Kuna vile mimi sielewi hapa hivi mfuko huko saa. Vipi biashara inaendaje?
Niambie kuhusu wimbo wako PC Kali.
PC Kali nimeshirikisha Mario. Ni idea nilikuwa nayo, nikamwambia brother ni aje, kuna hii idea niko nayo, hebu isikie. Nikamtumia akapenda vibe. Tukafika Tanzania hapo hivyo tukapiga kitu mbaya sana. Hatari, ngoma ikatoka.
Ukafika Tanzania ukapiga.
Alafu Tanzania tunajua mimi ni nyumbani kule kwa mamangu. Mamangu ni Mtanzania by the way, baba ndo Mkenya. So mimi nikiwa kule niko wajomba zangu kule. Tunatisha mbaya sana.
Wakati wa kwanza unataka kufanya muziki hata kwa wazazi walichukulia vipi?
Wazazi wangu walikuwa wamekosananga hata mimi unajua. Mimi hata mamangu akambo alinifukuzanga home. So mimi hakuna siku nimemfuataka babangu nikamwambia eti mzee nataka kuimba. Wamekuja kunisupport sasa hivi vile nimeanza kuwa star.
Kwa hivyo sema wewe umejisimamia, umejisupport all through.
Ile kupambana yangu na kuomba Mungu na God akasaidia ndio hivyo. Leo hii wanaona kijana wao.
Sasa wanakuaminia.
Mbaya sana. Ukifika hapo 06 hapo. Ni big classic tu ndo namba mta.
Na kuona pia pale kwa mtandao the digital space na saizi kwanza quite a lot of content is going to the digital space. Now wasanii wana appreciate the space that is digital. Imesaidia aje craft yako?
Mimi yangu imepanda sana kama hivyo unavyosikia. Tunapata risk. Watu wana support. Mimi nashukuru sana mashabiki wangu vile wana download kazi zangu huko. Wana support kila mahali muziki wangu. Na appreciate sana kama sio wao nisingekuwa big classic leo. Ningekuwa huko kwa street, maisha yangu ingekuwa ngumu sana. So mimi na appreciate sana.
Una appreciate hata wakicomment una appreciate pale.
Hata yani check unajua nini, acha nikwambie kitu. Kwenye maisha mimi kitu nimejifunza. Yule mtu mwenye ana hate kazi yako, wewe ndo anakuanga yani fan. Unashasikia? Juu lazima aione hiyo kazi ya hate. Umeona? So mimi mtu kao akija kicomment pale, big classic hapa hakuna kitu. Mimi nasema huyu jamaa kama ameiona hii kazi niko sure ataona kazi nyingine. So naenda naua kazi nyingine fit. Mpaka anakuja, yani unajua mteja unambembelezea na biashara, unamwambia akikata hii business unamletea business nyingine. Obviously atakubali tu, atafika hapo mbele aseme bro mimi nilikuwa sisikizagi kazi zako. Kama unasikiaga na mashabiki wao, nilikuwa sikusikizangi lakini kwa hii ngoma bro kwanza leo nimekuwa shabiki yako.
So unazitake the negative comments unazitake positively. Okay, tukimalizia najua nilikuuliza ni nini your fans should expect, but do you have an upcoming project tukimalizia?
Kazi ni mingi sana. Tumeshawapa moyo ndo kama hivyo. Na projects zinakuja nyingi. Alafu sasa hivi unajua tuko hii time ya nani? Campaign. Tunangoja campaign ikiisha tu tunaanza kuua mawe.
Sasa umezistore unangoja.
Amini hatari. Yaani ukisikia mtu mbali ni shida.
Okay, fine. Well said. All right, so B Classic has been our first guest on our segment Entertainment Thursday this Thursday morning, but we still have a lot in store for you after this break. In fact, when we return, we now talk about politics and entertainment. Stay put.
The Africa FIBA 2023 World Cup qualifiers enter the third phase from July 1st to 3rd. Kenya will contest for the coveted World Cup slots when it takes on hosts Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo and Senegal.
Guess who's on it? Woo! Which gives Kenya another chance to run an even better draw of feet!
Watch the matches live from Alexandria, Egypt on KBC Channel 1 starting on July 1st to 3rd. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Culture makes us have beliefs, values, mindsets, and practices. Through culture, we get to see the behavior pattern and norms of a specific group. Their rules, their assumptions, their perceptions, and try to understand the logic and reasoning behind those assumptions.
This family is normally not allowed into the compound, no.
If it is taboo to eat chicken, and you have eaten chicken, the entire village would know that so-and-so's wife is a wolf.
Walikuwa wanapata adhabu. Ile adhabu inaitwa malu.
Every Friday at 9 p.m., KBC features different communities in Kenya for an opportunity to understand their specific belief or practice.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best.
Champion Studios, baby.
A big classic 006.
Giddy vibe.
I see well love. Macho yatazame wapi kama so kwako my baby. Oh na na na. Kwa wengine no. Peke yako nakupenda mana. Wendo wangu my lover. Oh yeah, vile nakupenda mi amor. Hata nguvu ya kuchiti mi sina. You are my only one. You are my only one. Usingizi sipati. Hata nikilala la la. I'm thinking about you. Ni wewe ndo nawaza waza. Usingizi sipati. Hata nikilala I'm thinking about you. Ni wewe ndo nawaza waza. Nimekuchora we, chora, chora. Nimekuchora we, kwenye moyo wangu. Nimekuchora we, chora, chora. Nimekuchora we, kwenye moyo wangu. Hauna maringo to meet to Mama Jojo. Nakupenda si bongo. Wako na kesha kama popo. Kisura, shepu mwendo na tabia. Wako na ridhia. Umeniteka roho. Basi tufanye mambo tujinaizi. Malavala paka naiti. Leo sinywi pombe nipe waini. Penzi letu liwe faini. Au singizi sipati. Hata nikilala. I'm thinking about you. Ni wewe ndo nawaza. Au singizi sipati. Hata nikilala. I'm thinking about you. Ni wewe ndo nawaza. Nimekuchora we. Chora. Nimekuchora we. Kwenye moyo wangu. Nimekuchora we. Chora. Nimekuchora we. Kwenye moyo wangu.
Oil and water. I am not going to back down. I will also completely understand if anyone in here chooses to leave this family.
Thank you for your offer. When we get together again.
A body like this. No wonder you're smitten. Now, you can imagine the shock when I found out that our future daughter-in-law is working for the enemy. It's just a job.
Your sister here must accept that she made the wrong choice.
Honor your father and mother and heed their guidance, even to whom you cast your vote for in the election.
And where is that written in the Bible?
Have I ever told you to remind me of my wife?
Those scratches on your face, they make you look heroic.
I thought I'd come and offer my help. There's no peace because of you.
Wendell! Are you moving? Can you stop shouting?
This is a disaster for our family. You wonder why I don't want to get involved in politics. I love you.
Bye.
Excuse me?
I've seen the way you look at him. Something has happened between the two of you, right? No fool, no more, bro. We're going to push my uncle's campaign so hard that car will crash. Family Jane is waking up finally.
Right, and that is the Chaguo trailer, which obviously forms our conversation right now. That is politics and entertainment sets the center stage for our next conversation in the selection period. What choices are the young people making? What choices are you making as a Kenyan altogether? And what role is art, specifically film, having in the choices that we make as Kenyans, as young people in the selection? That is what we are set to discuss right about now. My guest wako hapa. To my immediate right, I'm joined by Sanchez Ombasa, who is a film actor, I should say.
Yeah.
Right next to him is Sybil Colette, also an actor. Actress, which one fits?
Nowadays they use female actor.
They say female actor?
Yeah.
Instead of just saying actress?
Yeah.
Mko vipi?
Tuko fiti, tuko njwithi. Yeah.
Wala kuna ngoja futoza alafu ndo weke sasa energy.
Yeah.
Ona vile nena like which is vile nakuangalia like what are you saying?
Awesome.
What are you saying?
Njwithi means awesome.
Youth and shame.
Wow.
Okay, just keep the character. I know you're portraying the character that is in the film.
Wow.
Anyway, let's understand Chaguo, the film. I know we've had the trailer there, but it's really very key. Kwanza kwa hii time election. Na feel nianze na wewe by the way. Talk to me about Chaguo.
So Chaguo is mainly a film that's talking about politics and the role that it plays in society in terms of togetherness. So the togetherness has been depicted in the film through the love story. You get, which is the ordinary me and you relationship. It's just that it's been made more into the love agenda. And then now how politics and deceit play a role in all that. So that's the point of Chaguo, the movie. Yeah.
What about the name? Looks like one of those names that carries a lot in it. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a heavy name because Chaguo could mean how you elect your leaders, why you do the election itself, and also Chaguo mirrors the fact that when you come from two different families that have different political views, it means that this couple, who are the main characters, will have a really big problem when it comes to the marriage itself.
Yeah, making the choice itself.
Making the
choosing
choice.
the partner and everything. So I think the whole movie just covers choices that people are making, whether in elections or their partners in life. Yeah.
So just from the name Chaguo, it's basically choices.
Yeah.
This could cut across relationships, politics we are in that season, and anything that could there be in terms of making decisions or choices altogether.
Yeah.
Your characters, where you play Rahab, Wendo's sister, portraying a very strong character, which I feel just portrays your natural personality.
Yeah.
Why are you disagreeing?
I have not disagreed and I have not agreed. So
But you know, communication is what you say and what you don't say. What you don't say looks like she does.
Coughing. Do you know me in person?
It's cold. It's a cold morning. I have to cough.
Anyway, Rahab is basically a young girl. Rahab represents, let me call them Generation Z. You know, this to millennials who will just quit their job because me, I can't wake up this early. I was not cut for this. And so her main role, despite just being the sister to, Wendo and being the backbone, she's basically just that symbolism of like this generation that's coming up. Because you can be sure if you compare the two, I don't think the parents would dare tell Rahab who to marry. They would not.
They would tell Wendo, but they couldn't.
They can't bring that agenda in front of Rahab. She'll leave. I mean, this is not what I'm cut for. So she's representing that kind of people. And then it was also important for her to be strong enough because everyone in the family was sort of like against the sister. And if she was also against the sister, then who would the sister have? You get. Yeah, so that was Rahab.
And you also play that loving, sort of like protective for the younger sister.
Yeah, that was my main motivation. I would do anything for my sister. Yeah.
How was it getting into this character?
At first, I'd like to let you know.
When you read the script and then this was supposed to be you.
She wasn't supposed to be like that.
Okay.
Originally, she was supposed to be the church-like, the mom accompanying the... But tunajua mama ametuambia tuachane na hiyo maneno. That was supposed to be Rahab. But then, like I'm telling you, when we read the whole script, we were like, Wendo will lack someone to stand up. You get for her. We lack someone to even take her, to go choose the gown and everything. If I was gonna be the, I don't think I would support some of her choices, or I would be leading her in a certain direction. And so we had the conversation. I was like, I don't feel like Rahab should be like this. I feel like Rahab should be like this to represent this and this and this. And when I talked about it, the director and everyone on board agreed. And so that's how we changed Rahab from the Natuende tukaombe tuchukue ule pasta to now this one.
The strong.
Yeah.
See, I said like your natural personality depicts the character you play in the film. Nonetheless, Sanchez.
Yeah.
Your character, the one that just does not like the couple. Talk to me about the character.
The role is called Sebi. Sebi.
Don't move. You've lost a great deal of blood. Are you all right?
How did you survive before I showed up?
I got lost.
Got lost?
I know you want to laugh. It's okay. You can laugh if you want to.
I'm very patient with silly people. That was when he met you.
是家乡。
President Uhuru Kenyatta has been advancing policies and strategies that promote gender equality and women empowerment since he came into office. This week on Project 254,
women comprise 33% of my cabinet and command strategic positions.
It will be an important part of his legacy where you see the women in your team as just part of the boys.
What will be the difference that you will make? That has to begin with you internally as a person, making those decisions. And secondly, knowing that the world will not always embrace you.
Duty Kwanzaa?
That can wait. I need to deal with you first. You embarrassed me.
You probably embarrassed yourself. Just because you signed a couple of useless papers at the office doesn't make you the boss.
I wonder why you came back. No one missed you.
What did you just say?
I say you should have just stayed abroad. No one missed you here.
You need to let her walk by herself. I mean, she'll hate you.
Does no hate her mother?
On what ground, Snake?
Lower your voice, young man.
I fired you and I haven't changed my mind.
I did. Or let's say I have.
Unataka nikuletee yako hapa ama unatakaje?
I know where the kitchen is.
Tiff, you're moving out because Wayuni was rehired.
You don't get it, do you?
He's telling you something.
Because the money here.
I'm so thank you.
Namaste crown, namaste crown, namaste Ben.
Mate ilikuwa inatoka huko mheshimiwa, alafu nilikuwa na mnaifu mheshimiwa.
Sasa hiyo umekalia nini?
Sasa hiyo nimekalia wheelchair mheshimiwa. So mtu akiniongelesha namwambia nampointia na mnaifu mheshimiwa.
Kwa nini hukukataa?
Mbona huwezi futa mkokoteni?
Toka.
I tried myself to
Toka.
Kwa sababu I'm not disciples. Sasa mimi si disciples.
Ngoja kidogo makwa. Ni laana kubwa sana. Watu watoa pesa zao, wewe unatia mfukoni.
Aginye fara, hivi tu si ungefanya nini?
Barmi angeshika ya mtu. Put him in a tree. Remove all the gloves. Have a razor blade. Alafu nagata yama pieces kadogo kama ile ya nyeri.
Omera, this is my phone. It is not yours. Of course it's yours, but it is tapping. Why are you people intruding into my personal life?
Hey, leta muda yangu. What is wrong with you? Let me go, you crazy. Wewe ndio kilezi. Leta muda yangu.
No, come on.
Leta muda yangu. Kamene, calm down.
Kabisa unanikana mimi sikujui wewe na unijui. Nimekusahau.
What the hell is this?
What the?
Chani, unafanya nini? Wachana na yeye. Wachana na yeye.
Of course you lied to me.
Oh my goodness.
Diego. I'm 14 years old. I school at Rover Sports Academy and I play tennis. I look up to Serena Williams because she's a fighter on court. She has good attitude.
Mzee Kipara. Na huyu nani hapa? Huyu ni mbwa. Mbwa anamuuma Mzee Kipara. Sijui Mzee Kipara amefanya nini?
And today we are going to make avocado egg salad.
Today I'm going to teach you how to make a cool fish.
Mtoto anadaka ulikipa dunia wabeta tena kikata nai.
Welcome back, and we apologize for that hitch. I mean, just the perks of live TV. Nonetheless, I'm still holding court with my guest, that is Sybil Colette, as well as such as talking to us on matters to do with politics and entertainment and the in-between. Before we went, we were talking about your character. So let's just start from the apex of it.
In life, you always have that one friend, let's say your best friend, who will always be there to advise you. It's like a verification committee. Like, before I go to do this, I have to ask this.
Like how it is in real life.
Yeah. That's how it was in the film, because Mugeni was my best friend, and we've known each other since childhood. So when it comes to a point where he has to get married and he's facing some red flags in this relationship, I'll always be there to tell him, Z, haiwezi. So I was so keen. That's why in the film I'm really against that relationship.
Which red flags were this you are seeing? Because you know red flags, eh? Anyway, which red flags were this?
Because let's say we're in Kenya. In Kenya,
no,
and
we can't say we're in Kenya. We are in Kenya.
I was saying, let's say, freedom of speech.
Sawa. Okay, let's assume.
Let's assume.
Now we're in the film, so let's assume.
In the film,
yeah.
Mugeni is about to get married to a lady whose political stand is against the enemy.
Okay.
Not the enemy in a bad way. It's because we don't share the same values. Because Mugeni comes from a family that has a politician, and Wendo also comes from a family that has another politician, and both of them are in the same race. So we can't be arguing about politics. That's already a red flag. So I'll be there to tell Mugeni, no, let's avoid this conflict. Just look for another girlfriend and let's live happily ever after. Yeah.
I like how Rahab, actually I'm using the name in the film, is looking at you like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
I'm just shocked. So men also have committees.
No, you began overthinking.
You weren't even touching on political things. You were talking about us being lower class.
No, Wendo herself, not... I can't...
So this advice that you're giving Mugeni, was it just on the basis of these are two people that love each other, but their political inclination is different, or there was actually more to that?
It was purely that. I didn't want the conflict.
For you, it was purely that?
Yeah, purely that. I didn't want the conflict to escalate to a point that we'll have to like brush shoulders about who will you support. Yeah, so I was just looking out for my friend.
Looking out for your friend in that respect.
Pure intentions only.
But Rahab thinks there was that and more to it.
Yeah.
What was this more?
I think it was not just political affiliations, it was even more about the social class and where we belong in society. Because most times in his conversations, he always mentioned that Wendo is a lower class, she has an appetite for the fine things in life and all that. So what were you trying to imply? So I think that's also a different aspect of the society, because I would be, you can be supporting the same person politically, but I still think like, no, you don't come from the same social class as me.
So that disqualifies you.
Yeah, you know, the people say, I'm not going to talk without my lawyer. I'd say I won't talk without the scriptwriter being here, because he's the one who made the character traits and everything.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so you won't crucify me for my role.
You won't talk with, you won't talk when the scriptwriter is not here to justify some of these things being said.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about the themes in the film. Let me start with you, Rahab. What themes was this film addressing, and specifically why?
Like I said, first, it's addressing politics.
Yeah, that you talked about.
And also, I would say love. Like I also said, the different classes in the society, the influence on the youth, the role the youth play in terms of politics, in terms of everything. The propaganda that comes around with politics. Basically, that was the major thing that was Chago was talking about. And also, it touched on some of the people who are affected by this. The impact of perhaps previous elections
Yeah.
to the people now, depicted by people like Dorcas,
Yeah,
who now
Dorcas.
don't want to vote because they were affected. And now we take them through the journey of how we can change such minds, because we do have such kind of people in our present society who never want to get involved in politics again because they've seen the bad side of it.
They've seen the violence.
Yeah.
Ideally, basically what happened in 2000, 2007, 2008 general election.
Yeah.
So also in terms of what you're trying to pass to the masses, yes, she's talked about the politics, the love, the seed, and all of that. Was this also the message you're trying to communicate to the public, that you could be in two different political affiliations, but that does not mean you should hate your neighbor, you should hate your brother? Was this part of what was trying to indicate?
Yeah, it was part of it, and also it brought out the fact that you don't necessarily have to follow one political leader just because your entire family does. Yeah, like you are born in a family that supports so and so, so you automatically have to support so and so. Yeah, according to the film, you follow a leader because of his manifesto and everything.
Ideas. Yeah, what he stands for. Yeah.
Speaking of manifestos and idea, at least so far we know Azimio has already unveiled it. Kenya Kwanzaa is doing that today, as well as Roots Party. You're waiting for Agano to do the same. I mean, just in your own analysis, even as young people, there's a lot of conversation surrounding the fact that youths are really vulnerable. Oftentimes they are, and even during this election period, they even are more vulnerable. We've heard of talks of crowds for hire. Oftentimes they are young people given as little as 100 bob, 200 bob, to cause chaos, and they're causing mayhem out here. Me and Adi nasaweni brother yangu, nasaweni neighbor, because of this time. In your perspective, what is making youths to be such vulnerable like this? Because I think also in the film, these are the things it's trying to address. Don't be this way. It's just a moment. It's just for a season. Let me start with you, Rehab.
I would say that one of the things that makes the youth in our society behave in that kind of manner right now is, one, I'm going to the highest bidder. It's who has the most money, because today the same youth who are supporting this particular person, if the other person comes tomorrow with more money, they'll go. The other one comes with more money, they'll go. I think now it has just become an agenda of money making.
True.
It has become, it's no longer about values.
It's a business.
It's a business.
Yeah.
Watu ikifika time ya campaign, mimi niko biashara.
Nikomboka.
You know, because like where I come from in Kasarani, so when there's someone campaigning, you don't even find watu wa boda boda, the obvious ones. They're busy. Not that hiyo siku ni siku yao ya job. They're not going to do what you want them to do that day. So I think it's just more of trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, the root cause of all this is poverty. If the economy is bad.
I answered my next question even before I asked it.
Yeah, because if the economy is bad and the youths don't have jobs, they have to like make that money.
Because I think if it was not about money, then they would not be given the money. I would come, convince you with my manifesto and agenda, and we would back you up, and then we'd be against other people because we support our person for what? Nowadays it's about the money.
So all this is rooted in poverty, unemployment, and all these issues. If we had time, it would have exploded, but it was too time nyingi sana. Even as we just try to draw the conversation to a close, I know it already premiered. That was is it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it did.
Around 17th, 18th there. That trend through up until just the previous week. But for those that might really want to catch a glimpse of this film, because as I said earlier, it's very timely, and trust me, you need to watch it. It's necessary. Where can they get it?
Right now, it is coming back to Prestige again. It's going to be running from tomorrow, which is the 1st to 8th.
1st to 8th.
Yeah, which is next week on Thursday. The timings have been added to twice a day, which is 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m.
And it's because of people who are complaining that they come from work at 7 p.m. So they could
can't
not
catch the film, or at 5 niko kwa traffic highway unataka niende Prestige, you get. So they've addressed those kind of issues.
So you can be in traffic, and at 8:30 you're in Prestige, watch the film, and go home.
It's just an hour plus 1.5 hours. And also right now it's going to show in Mombasa in Nyali Cinemax.
Wow.
On 6th, which is on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Actually, Mombasa, it's free.
Interesting. So from 1st to 8, 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Prestige Plaza Nairobi, Mombasa pia inakuja. Very timely film. Go watch this film. Chaguo it is. I have been speaking to Sanchez Ombasa. To my immediate right next to him is Sibyl Colette. Both of them, actually, let me just say, an actor and a female actor.
Yes.
All right. right, and this is a good place to end this conversation, but we still have one more after this break with Mike. Stay put.
With less than 2 months remaining to August 9th, battle lines have been drawn in Kakamega County, with candidates receiving clearance from the IEBC to vie for the seat. This Thursday, 30th June, tune in to KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m. for a live gubernatorial debate and get to know each candidate's development agenda for Kakamega County.
Stay put, don't move. You've lost a great deal of blood. Are you all right?
How did you survive before I showed up?
I got lost.
Got lost?
I know you want to laugh. It's okay. You can laugh if you want to.
I'm very patient with silly people. That was when he met you.
The Africa FIBA 2023 World Cup qualifiers enter the third phase from July 1st to 3rd. Kenya will contest for the coveted World Cup slots when it takes on hosts Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo and Senegal.
Guess who's on it? Woo! Which gives Kenya another chance to run an even better draw of feet!
Watch the matches live from Alexandria, Egypt on KBC Channel 1 starting on July 1st to 3rd. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best.
Now, from music to politics and entertainment, right now we wrap it up with content creation. This is our last conversation today. I'm joined in by my guest, that is Mayoyo.
Yes.
Mambo. To my immediate right.
Yeah.
Right next to him is Iano.
Yeah.
Simkuwa na majina.
Ndio manake.
Lazima jina ndo itese ndo kingia kwa content creation pia unatesa huko pia.
Yani saizi story ya jina imemove from wasanii wa muziki mpaka watu wa content creation. You just don't come with your original ID names.
Wapi?
You put a twist. You add some food color.
Wataka wachawi wa kutafute. Ai, wanakujua na jina ushago.
Na bado na uko kwa process ya ku make it. Na bado unatakiwa kupata na uko kwa process ya ku make it.
Keep it low. Usiwaambie.
Usiwaambie unafanya nini? Okay, let's talk about the content that you make, and this is you do it on individual basis, ndio? Kila mtu na yake?
Kila mtu ako na yake, but we are a group.
But
you're a group.
Tunafanya pia.
So which kind of content is this? Iano?
Comedy, comedy skits. Yeah.
Same as you?
Yes, comedy, nafanya drama. Then cinema director pia, cinema edit. Yani kwa YouTube
watu versatile.
Unafanya kila kitu. YouTube iko na as in platform ni kubwa, unaweza kuwa editor, unaweza kuwa mtu wa kamera. Yani siku moja unaweza jipata wewe mtu wa kamera pale, kuna mtu unashutia mtu mwingine. You do everything.
So you do both in front, behind the scenes, yani all rounded.
Kila kitu.
Na blogging pia pale bado tuko.
Blogging. Na pia vlogging.
Zote. Kila kitu.
Okay, quite interesting. Hii ilianza time gani?
Mimi nilianza last year. Actually yeye ndo aliniintroduce, so yeye ndio mentor wangu kwa industry, yeye na bro yake. Nilianza last year February, nikaanza kushoot na wao. Pale nikafanya comedy, with time nika realize kumbe niko na passion ya hiki kitu. So ndo around June last year nikafungua saa my own channel, nikajua about stories za editing. So with time
so tell when you like fresh blood kwa kind of.
Siwezi sema niko fresh cause the experience that I have I see I am too fresh na the ideas
ziko. You can't say when you fresh. At least una bobea.
Ndio tuseme calling yangu ilikuja late.
Wewe ndio ulidiscover late, calling inakuanga tu. Okay, so when anasema when ni mentor wake, when did this start for you? Na mbona uli feel now this is the area I want to go to, content creation? You know why I ask that is because right now, because a lot of young people, they're really getting into content creation and making business out of it.
So I was an actor back in the days, primary, high school. Then kutoka high school now I started acting pole, but I didn't have the platform. I always thank one guy, Henry Desagu, for giving me that platform, showing me the way, how to monetize YouTube, how to create an idea. We also have friends who showed me how to do it, the likes of Ololo TV, how to create an idea, how to edit, how to package the content before you release it to the audience. So it's been a process.
When was this?
So I started YouTube in 2016, but now that was pole tu naeka tu moja, hey guys, I'm waking up, naweka hiyo. Alafu sasa ikakuja sasa ile serious yenyewe, now you have to sit down, create an idea. This is now in 2019 when I started with my friend Waithaka. But now niko peke yangu. But tuko sawa, tunasonga tu.
Nasonga tu. So it's been 3 years like solo doing comedy, doing content creation.
Plus mentoring, unaona kama Yano, plus you know opening it ikuwe ni kama if you want to come to this space, we are here to guide you.
Which is a good thing because
so tuko na our own production. So you find kuna our young YouTubers wenye wanakama hapa, kuna say unajua kwa hii industry kuna mtu ako na knowledge fulani but haezi kupea. But for us as a team tulikama up na hiyo idea, at least to say the young upcoming YouTubers unapata msee hajui kushoot, so unakam on board, natuambia tuko na hii shida. So on our side tunajua vile tunaweza kusaidia, kama ni kupush content yako, kufanya part ya production.
Good, that's good because vile unasema by the way saizi kila mtu ni even for himself, God for us all. So unapata mtu atakuwa na skill, akakuwa na knowledge, but because they are scared you might bypass them. They just leave you
some
to figure out. Some, some. Of course not all. I mean, some of them.
Sijui niseme tunajisifu kidogo.
Nyinyi make a platform for those that would want to. Which is good. Anyway, you know, wanasemanga content creation is much as people are really venturing and going into this space. Also, it's not one of those easy things. I mean, it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of input. Consistency no cha muhimu sana. Jupia wengine wanaanza lakini consistency hakuna. So unapata mtu ameanza this year ama ameweka video moja pale this month, anakaa like 3 or 4 months before they actually put something. Talk to me about consistency, commitment in this space, content creation. Let me start with you.
So when you start talking about consistency, one, if I upload videos daily, I might gain more subscribers more than you who uploads, let's say, 3 videos in a week. So consistency, it pays. Hata kama una upload video, let's say kila siku, but zinapata 500 views, 600 views, you're way better than somebody mwenye ana upload, let's say video once anapata 10,000 views. Hiyo ndio kitu tunataka watu wajue. So consistency, hata kama una upload video unapata 200 views, usiwache,
endelea tu.
Because unajua with YouTube you never know. Because me video ilinitoa, ni video li upload December, ikakuja kushoot the following year January. So actually ukiupload video usi delete, we iache tu. Kuna siku itablock.
Whether inakanika iko na views ama haina views.
Achana nayo tu.
So that also needs discipline.
Discipline.
All right.
Yeah, na process ni refu. So me it took me 2 years ndo nionje pesa ya YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Takes that long.
Yeah. As in me I had issues with my pin. That's why tulikamba kuna idea kusaidiana ndo isikue ni kama kila mtu akianza YouTube ana struggle. So that ukianza within the, let's say the first month upata pin yako, you started earning.
And we'll come to that in a bit, the monetization of these social platforms. But before we get to that, Iyano, wewe wakati unatengeneza your content, how do you stay this consistent? Because like you're saying, it is important, even like Mayoyo is saying, important, yes, but again sometimes ni ngumu. Hata your idea haikuji, like una try kama ni yo comedy inakataa tu ama how we feel. How do you keep up?
So kuna kitu unajua ku create idea, una have kwanza unakaa chini, unaweza watch let's say ideas za wase wengine. With that kuwatch ideas za wase wengine zitakusaidia kupata the content maybe yenye ulikuwa unafaa kufanya hiyo siku. Alafu kitu kingine si lazima hata watch. Unaweza fanya kitu yenye msee anaweza relate. For example, unaweza kaa hivi ukumbuke kitu fulani ilikufanyikianga high school. So kuna venye unaweza ileta in a comic way and vile utaiportray kwa wase wataget. So for us kitu tunafanyanga sana ni tunafanyanga ideas zenye ziko relatable. Yeah.
Ideas ziko relatable. Is that in essence like vitu zinafanyika?
Yeah, vitu zinafanyika kwa society, vijana. Because sisi pia ni vijana bado.
Like what space? Wewe umefocus na nini exactly? Vitu zina ama tu ni general anything that happens?
General anything. Yeah, provided nitajua vile nitaileta in a comic way. Yeah.
Ni gani ya so ulifanya watu akasema like this is good stuff. Nayo it hits home.
Ni mingi. Ni mingi. Actually kuna moja tulifanyaga na Mayoyo. Ilikuwa idea ya ushaona vile unaendanga bash, una dance na dem. Alafu wewe kwa mwenye nyumba unaingia haukuwa na dem. So ukiingia unacheki yeye ndo alikuwa mwenye nyumba. So sisi alikuwa ametu host, so tukiingia hapo hivyo dem ananidansia. So yeye kama mwenye nyumba anakuja anachukua, ananiguza kaa boys dakika moja. Dem yangu anaanza kuzua sijui nini, mbona chiomse aingia. Yeah. So me personally nilifeel
ikitumia happen.
Ili happen hata mimi sheni happen by the way.
Ndio maana ilikuwa relatable na watu. Okay, that's interesting. Now let's come to monetization of this space. Again, like we said, watu wengi wanaingia kwa hii platform and people don't have even the patience. Like for you it took 2 years. Wengine it takes 3, 4. Unapata mtu anasema niko na 3,000 subscribers. I already have this watch hour that needs to be there. But bado si make do. How does this analytics work?
So with YouTube, ukiupload ndo unapata pesa. Usipoupload wewe kula shida yako.
So inaanzia kwa hiyo consistency. That's the first step.
Kwanza.
Okay.
Plus pia sasa sisi tumekuwa kwa industry tuko na haki yetu ya kupata kuattend watch time within a very short period of time. Hiyo ni yetu. Atupeani hiyo. So wewe kuja kwetu tutakupatia.
Ni saa akuja individually.
Kuja to reach tumpatie hiyo formula. Tuchai crack
siki magendo. Ni legit.
Akuja alipe pesa yake. We said not more than 3,000. Tuongee tumsaidie. So about monetization.
Yes.
You need patience. Na with patience comes consistency. Na monetization pia imaanishi pia YouTube iko na pesa mingi.
That's the first thing we need to know.
Kuna vitu tunaita RPM, CPM, hizo ndo zinakulipa. Kitu kama CPM ya Kenya for 1,000 views.
CPM, ebu say in full for people to understand what you're talking about.
So CPM, let me explain a very mtu let's say anaanza ataelewa.
Yes.
Okay, for 1,000 views, there's a certain amount you get paid.
Okay.
So for Kenya, for 1,000 views, you get let's say less than let's say 100 shillings.
This is for 1,000 views.
1,000 views. Then you add him a play.
Now this means that you've done your video, you've posted it, and people have watched it.
Remember, you have to be monetized kwanza.
Okay. Now let's
tuanze na hiyo process ya monetization.
Kwanza tusiku watch kwanza. So how do you get to be monetized?
So for you to be monetized, you need to have 1,000 subscribers. And
that's the basic.
That's the basic. And 4,000 hours of watch time, which people say it's equivalent to 85,000 views, of which is not correct. So when you attain hizo, now you apply for AdSense partnership nini. Now you link your AdSense with your YouTube account. Now that's where you start earning. Yeah.
So that's the first process.
You're the process ya kwanza
now,
sasa.
At that point you've been monetized.
Yes.
Okay. So then how do I start getting that money?
You now start uploading your videos. When you start uploading
you
videos,
now continue because you continue uploading
yeah.
them. Okay.
And then the previous videos you can monetize them. Let's say you will come upload 20 videos before you get monetized. So kisha monetize you the previous 20 videos need to monetize.
Okay.
Yeah, so ukiendelea ku upload. That's where you start earning. Yeah.
All right. So clearly it's not an easy process because the subscribers the
but
videos.
for Yano, since here tulikuwa tushajuana, it took him 1 week. 1 week.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wind down, nini unataka, let me just say the young people, because patience, I think in my analysis, I would say patience is lacking. Mtu anaanza, after they had a very good chance, a good opportunity to actually make business out of this, but I feel like, I've been doing this for a while, I don't think I can do this anymore. Let me start with you, Iyano. Juya kwanza hata wewe ulikuwa lucky. Wewe ni
but kitu moja hata nikwambia kwa hii industry kitu msaya na need na kitu inaweza advice na vijana huko nje. Ukianza kitu kwanza wewe jiaminie. That is the first step. And another thing, have patience. Patience, jo kuna kitu moja kama in YouTube ukikosa patience hakuna place utaenda. And again, never give up. Ukiupload video ya leo ikose kuenda, make kesho amka piga hiyo shughuli tena. With time kuna ile siku moja yenyewe itakuwa siku yako na utafurahia. Ukianza kukula hiyo pesa usikie utamu yake,
hautaiacha.
Hautaiacha.
Well said. Yeah. As I finish with you, Mayoyo, utawaambia nini vijana?
So kona za content creation vile Yana amesema don't give up. Anzisha we, shida ni ile tu kuanza. We anza hiyo simu yako yenye kuna kamera sijui na kaja, anza nayo tu. With time wasa watapenda content na wasa watawatch. Na ni process pia. Pole pole tu, 1 subscriber, 2, 3 hadi ufikie hadi 1000. Pole pole tu. Ipeleke na ipige tu na passion. Na tuombe Mungu. Yeah.
Kwa hivyo nasema si lazima ungoje ununue hiyo kamera ndio uanze. Hata kama simu ina hizo mchele wewe anza.
Tulianza na camcorder ile yenye unaingiza mkono hivi unashika. Tulianza na hiyo.
So start where you are.
Kuna simu zingine pia ziko na kamera fiti kushinda hata kamera zingine. So ni ujiaminie, ingia piga shughuli, tafuta msa atakushutia, mtafute tripod. Yeah, kazi ianze.
Well said. Good place to end it. But cha muhimu, start where you are.
Wacha tupige shout out. Tafadhali.
Very quickly.
Shout out to my manager, Fortune World Limited. Shout out to my director, my big bro, Kiatika Ndungu himself. Shout out to you, my bro. Miss V pale. Uko single.
Sawa. So they have been Mayoyo and Iyano, of course, talking to us about content creation, and that is what formed our conversation, at least for this last segment of Entertainment Thursday, and a good place to end Good Morning Kenya ultimately. From me and on behalf of the entire team, I'm Doreen Arange Okello. We do this again next week. Have a beautiful Thursday morning as well as a lovely weekend.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira kama Skiza Tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815 #.
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, zinaweza jenga ama zinaweza bomoa. Haki na sita tafadhali. Hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya